we interrupt your regularly scheduled program for this special report.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll bleed on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad. And now you gon' wish you was just a fuck up real bad. Shut up. Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Waller.
Yeah! Let me talk to you! War game.
Hi, what's up, everyone? Welcome this week's edition. We get in the ring and we're going to talk some pro wrestling all across all different companies. We got a lot to talk about. We want you to join the conversation here on the Sports Jedi Network, Heel of the Ring podcast. I got the one and only Chris with me. What's up, Chris? How are you?
I'm great. Great to be here again for another week, another episode of just talking about what's going on in the pro wrestling world. I got to get caught up on all the wrestling for the week, so I'm just excited to talk about what's going on.
Yeah, let's go. Let's jump. We got a lot of different things to talk about. We're gonna go chronological order from the week. We're gonna actually start with Sunday's Genesis. When we last went off the air last Saturday, we knew that the card was anticipating for TNA pay-per-view. We got to watch it there on the playback. Now, of course, if you haven't subscribed yet to the Playback TV, come out to the Heel of the Ring Playback TV where you actually see the footage of the event and don't miss out. You see every minute of the action and not just clips of with someone in the corner making funny, goofy faces. So we ask you to come and join and watch along with us on the playback. And we talked about Genesis. Up and down, we got a new TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry. I mean, in a match that it delivered for the main event, with all the oohs and ahs, the pomp and circumstances, and Genesis. What a pay-per-view up and down, for TNA teaming up a little bit with some NXT action. What was your thoughts on that whole card?
I thought the whole card was great. Me and you had a great time watching it on the playback. That was a show that there was no matches that you could skip, in my opinion. And I thought there was going to be a couple of those, but man, I was wrong. I was wrong. Every single match from start to finish you couldn't miss it. You had to watch it. I'm really excited to see what the future of TNA. I know we had this partnership going on. I know it's gonna, we're excited to see the TNA wrestlers going to WWE. I'm more excited to see some of the WWE guys go over to TNA. It's gonna help them build, get them the better TV network they deserve. I think making Joe Hendry during this new merger was good for business, making him the new TNA World Champion. He's probably going to enter it in the Rumble. He's going to showcase it on WWE. So it's good. They're going to him being World Champion is going to get a lot of eyes on TNA. I thought Mike Santana Alexander was probably the match that stood out to me the most. Just old school, hitting each other. It was a fight. I thought they did a great job building it up on TNA Impact the week before when we watched it. And now Mike Santana is going out, cut a great promo on Impact. He's really coming up. I'm excited to see what he has going on in 2025. he stood out to me one of the most, in my opinion. I don't know if it's biased, but I just enjoy this pay-per-view from head to toe. I'm excited for the next pay-per-view. I'm excited for what 2025 has for TNA. That was a great Genesis. Genesis has always been a great pay-per-view. I was just watching 2012 Genesis on YouTube because they have it right there with Bobby Roode, Angle, Hardy, Bully Ray. Like, they always do a good job with their main shows, and this was just another example of that. So good job by TNA. I'm excited to see way more of it. It's taking over my I don't just like to watch one. I like to have two hot companies, and right now TNA might replace AEW for me. So
interesting. And one thing I love about Genesis, and we're gonna wrap it up, was it led into, you have to tune in now to Thursday. Thursday was gonna be their live event, coming from Texas. It was in San Antonio, Texas, and it was gonna be live. We saw some appearances of NXT tag team champions Nathan Frazier and Axiom setting up that tag title, for later in the week with the Rascals before they went off the air. Marsha Slamovich, hardcore match, House of Orange with Rosemary, I thought delivered with Owedo. It was great. It was like, whoa, we thought that one might have been, man, I don't know if they're going to make that a co-main event, and they delivered. They were like, no, we have nothing to sneeze about here. Even the Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance taking on the Knockout Champion with Jody Threat and Danny Luna. Spitfire was on fire. Yep. No pun intended. I mean, even the shenanigans with Frankie Kazarian, coming out there getting clotheslined by JBL. What the hell is going on with JBL? So TNA delivered not a dull match there, and we'll leave for TNA, put a pin on TNA for now, because we're going to talk about them in a couple of segments from now when they come to their time on Thursdays. But let's go into Monday Night Raw. And on Monday Night Raw, a little bit of a mixed reaction here. We saw a lot of different things. We saw a match to kind of establish why he is a big deal in the WWE coming in, and he is going to be a major player, major star in 2025. Was Penta Cero Miedo taking on Chad Gable. I thought that match was really good there on not one of my favorite Monday Night Raws, I'm going to be totally honest with you. Give me your thoughts first and foremost. I want to highlight that match, Penta taking on the one and only Chad Gable.
Chad Gable, yeah. Wait, are we talking about this week's Raw? Because didn't he fight Pete Dunne?
Oh, did I say Chad Gable? I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. It was Pete Dunne. It was Pete Dunne. That's where I got I don't know why. I was too busy looking at the comments from Tony and also becoming a producer, an editor at the same time here, and I said the wrong name. It was the one and only Pete Dunne. Don't call him Butch. If I would have said Butch, we would have been right into it perfectly.
No, but this was good. I didn't watch Raw live. I was watching Ohio State win the Natty, so I went and rewatched this on Tuesday. It was another good match for Penta against a really good team.
Wait a minute. By the way, who won?
Ohio State. Let's go. Oh wait.
Yeah, I set you up there for that one.
Oh wait.
There you go.
Let's go. But it was great. But no, I did go back and rewatch Raw on Tuesday morning. This was another good match for Penta. Pete Dunne is very talented. He's one of those guys that they put in to put guys over. He's not a guy who wins a lot. That's not his role. Now I want to see Penta give me somebody interesting now. Give me a feud. Who's it gonna be?
Yeah,
I'm ready for that. We've seen 2 matches from him. We've seen how he can work. That was just showcases, in-ring talent to maybe some of the new fans who really necessarily don't know who Penta is yet. Now I want to see him get into a feud. I want to see him do some promo battles, have, matches, repetitive matches with some people, that makes sense. So I'm excited to see what Penta's going to do, feud-wise. But he's great. I mean, he's obviously going to keep having these great matches. And if they keep putting him with guys like Dunn and Gable who know how to work that style, who know how to put you over and make you look great, Penta's a superstar. He's a future. He could be a next Rey Mysterio when he's gone out of the booth.
That's an interesting. I love that observation there. And let's go back to Monday Night Raw because it started off hot where Nia Jax attacks Rhea Ripley. So they're teasing us this match because they're going to wrestle at Saturday night's main event. And of course, you see Nia Jax attacking Rhea Ripley in the back with that showdown heating up Saturday night's main event. I think you're having a little issue there. And of course, we'll find out how that goes there with Alan Pierce yelling for the medics, and we'll hopefully get back to that a little bit there. But the main event, Jey Uso and Gunther kicks off the week show. You know, there is a tease there, and of course, I've got a lot to say with that, man. For Saturday night's main event, I've got a little bit of if I had the creative pencil, or what I think when I sniff something here where it might be interesting for Royal Rumble and for WrestleMania and so forth. I'll get to that real quick at the end of the show here. Hopefully, we're not going to be here too long here, but they had the back and forth. Uso. Sometimes at first, Gunther felt that his promos were strong, and then Jay gets the crowd invested, emotional. He gets the crowd behind him. That's what you want when it comes to a promo. But I still think at the microphone, Gunther's cooking with realism on Jey Uso, pretty much calling him a one-trick pony, tag team wrestler. You take away the E, what is he? Just a super kick, slap fest? We'll find out on that, Chris.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of people who, I've seen it when I woke up. There's already edits of people with Jey Uso with the world title around his waist, and tonight's a really interesting concept for this match. I think it's one of the only, if not few, matches on the card where we really don't know what could go either way. But I really enjoyed, it was a solid promo battle, solid segment. We're seeing every week how much of us, us being the fans, the people out in the crowd support Jay. I don't think Gunther really likes the fact that Jay uses that to his advantage. But like you said, a lot of people criticize Gunther a little bit on the mic. Look, I don't mind it. He uses insults to get heat. I mean, he pissed me off when he called Damian Priest street trash. Like, what I'm saying? That's what he's supposed to do. Like, he takes.
That's right. Exactly. Say that one more time. That's what the heel is supposed to do.
Because just like me and you, Kev, Damian Priest comes from the same places we do. We can feel Gunther's promo, and he's doing a great job of that. He's improved so much, and I think that's what they were trying to make him do. So props to Gunther. I don't expect him to lose the title tonight, but if he does, that's wow, just wow. But great segment, great story. They're gonna have a great match, despite criticisms of Jay's in-ring skills. They're gonna have a great match.
All right. And I wanted to go through a little bit of Monday Night Raw. One of the things that stand out to me, hell of a match between Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio. I mean, who could complain about a Rey Mysterio match, even at his age? But Kevin Owens and Rey Mysterio, good back and forth there to get that there. And then, of course, Sami Zayn comes to the ring. And I like the seed that Kevin Owens plants in Sami Zayn's head. Like, Sami Zayn is expecting Kevin Owens to bring down fury on him, and he's like, whoa, you're my best friend, like that, he did the Jedi mind trick, he did the, he's really not going to attack me. He says, you do the right thing, kind of insinuating you're going to turn and take, cover my back because I'm your best friend, and we've been through so much thick and thin. When the time comes, I could call on your number and you should be there for me because we have a lot of history. Remember what we've been through, what trenches and what, up and downs we have gone through. You got to have my back, and kind of set in Sami Zayn that seed. They'll be like, you know what? This son of a gun's got some truth to his, bring his receipts. So interesting to see that dynamic storyline wise, how it plays out through the course of the Royal Rumble, Saturday night's main event tonight. And even we even see that at the end of Monday Night Raw. One thing I do want to complain about Monday Night Raw is the timing of when they go into commercial breaks on Netflix. And I know we're going to say, it's because they want you to get the top tier, pay the extra money to get the top tier so you don't miss out. You don't go in, okay, I understand. If there is that flaw, but you can still do it where you could want to make me buy the top tier without pissing me off and turning me off. And right now, I'm not liking Netflix Monday Night Raw. I'm being totally honest, and I got it. I didn't pay for Netflix because this is part of my my T-Mobile account, and all that good stuff. But you're starting to piss me off because I totally zoned out of a couple matches because you stopped it and you went into a commercial in the middle of a real good match. I started checking my emails. I went to see what's on X and everything, and then the match came back. I didn't focus right there. I couldn't give a shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't do that. Learn from TNA, where they, if you want to give me a shitload of commercials for 4 minutes, do it in between matches. When they go, we don't need when they're going to clean the ring, when they're going to dust it off. You don't need it when they're about to lock in collar, elbow, tie up. Oh, we get the hot comeback. Oh, we're going to go to commercial break. I can't stand that. You lose me. You totally, and especially we're in a generation supposedly where we have short attention span, and I'm one of those rare ones who will stick around and watch and like the slow build. But now you're getting to me and pissing me off on your timing, and I'm like, this is not USA where it's part of my cable deal or CW. This is Netflix where we're paying for this, and now you're going to load us with these crappy commercials where we're not going to carry the investment. Be careful, and we be careful, Netflix and WWE. You're going to probably piss not just myself. You're going to piss off a couple more other people with that. And all of this because you're trying to chase the extra premium package. So you should just put it from the premium package. And you know what? If you were to tell the WWE Universe you could get the Raw without all these interruptions, but you have to be a premium member of Netflix, I think people will go into it, not just sneaky throwing some subliminal pauses to frustrate you because you're gonna end up turning off everyone. You're just gonna piss people off. That's just me. I just did not enjoy that part. I think it took for me the experience of Monday Night Raw. I mean, despite the fact you had a Sheamus and Braun Breaker backstage setting up that Intercontinental title matchup at Saturday night's main event, Sheamus has not won the Intercontinental title yet in his illustrious career with the WWE. Braun Breaker, up and coming, rising superstar, to see that ready to go. We also saw Bayley. Again, Bayley comes across all of the wrestling platforms, taking on Nia Jax. We saw Roxanne Perez at ringside, getting involved, setting up for Tuesday NXT. Getting Nia Jax getting the victory over Bayley. That was a good one there. We saw some. Here's the one thing that didn't was Judgment Day. Didn't really hit with their backstage promo. We know that they're setting up a tag team matchup. It's going to be it's not going to be Finn. Finn is out. Supposedly he's still recovering, but it's going to be Dominic along with JD McDonough. But they want to know. We see Chad Gable interrupt, and that's probably why Chad Gable picks up what Pete done there earlier. Was Chad Gable interrupts and wants to know how to beat a luchador, and wants to know about the secrets of the luchador. Dave, and here is one. Who do you think was referred to Chad Gable on that card? There was a card that Dominic Mysterio gave him a card, and he said, really? give this person a call, and he is going to help you with the luchador problem. And then he asked him, who the hell you gave the card to? Oh, don't worry, you'll find out. It's some similar paraphrase.
Oh.
That's a setup for someone by the name of Aleister Black. Oh. You got to watch that segment one more time. I just went and watched the matches. I must have skipped through the backstage. There you go. Thank you so much. I think the devil might help him. There you go. So yes, as we got Ethan joining us from South Path, salute to you there. Over there across the pond, salute Ethan. Yeah, so that's an interesting there. That was a good setup there. But all in all, again, I don't want to take away from that match from Penta and Pete Dunne. That was a hell of a banger of a match. I think that's where they pissed me off when they interrupted in that match twice. I think that's why I got upset with it because I was really into that match, and then you totally took me off. It's like that was the one that killed me a little bit. We're hearing that Logan Paul is going to return next week for the Go Home Show. So everything's setting up for the Go Home Show for the Royal Rumble next week on Netflix. We have the Fusion Collection taking on Damage Control. One thing there that I want to give kudos to Zoe Starks with that damn missile drop kick that looked phenomenal, hitting Io Sky. Of course, Damage Control gets the win. I don't know what happens to Pure Fusion Collection going forward. They're not touching base or hitting on the fan base. That loss there without really getting heat. Kind of like, what are we doing with Shayna? What are we doing with Zoe? Over talented ladies, and even Sonya Deville. What's going on? Something's missing there. And I think I don't know if this is gonna fix it, Chris, for a Fusion Collection. And I go add another person to the mix. I think, you know who I think they should add in the heel run with them and let her be the ring general or the ring leader and call them the Heart Foundation? Natalya Neidhart. She's not doing nothing right now. It ain't gonna hurt. It can't be any worse than they're giving us right now with Pure Fusion Collection. Have them come out pink and black, Heart Foundation, Destruction. They're heartbreakers. Even whether you like them or you're male or female, you know, not for nothing, regardless of her orientation. Sonya Deville's a pretty woman. So as always, you know, you might have some people might like the Shayna Baszler, whatever the case is. Natalya, let them go out there be heartbreakers. Go out there and kick ass. They're women who could beat your ass. If you see them in a club or down the street, you don't want to mess with neither one of those four. Let them be the Heart Foundation, pink and black leather, and go out there and kick ass and take me, break arms. You know, you got someone. If you telling me that Natalya has someone in the hole, and you see Sonya, you see not only Shayna Baszler come and move, you could sell someone's shoulder being dislocated on a triple team or a double team attack. You don't need a toolbox to kind of like they did to Kairi Sane. You could believe in a move that she could really snap someone's limbs. I kind of want to see that, Chris. What's your thoughts on that one? Or is it the toothpaste out of the tube already?
I've never been too interested, but like you said, add somebody like a Natalya into the mix. That somebody who could actually do the talking, like how Bayley was with Damage Control. And then how like Dakota Kai was with like EO and like Kyrie and Asuka. Like that could add some interest because now you have somebody like with the spotlight, like somebody who can talk. Like I wouldn't mind that, but they're one of those things, you know, when they come and match, it's just like, okay, Pittsburgh, go get it with drink, something like that. And I don't. It sucks because I think Zoe Stark, despite her lack of skills on the mic, she's a phenomenal in-ring worker. Same thing with Sonya. Sonya's been a freaking GM. She knows how to talk on the mic. Why not you do something with her? They don't even really need to add anybody. Sonya's a former GM. She knows how to speak. She knows how to get heat. I mean, she was a heel GM for a long time.
But if you don't book them to give a shit, if you don't book them to give a crap about them, they're not going to get risen. You know, it feels like they put it, all right, let's put this here and okay, give me. And again, I want a kind of a storyline with them. Why are they together? Why is there? Because you know we're not the heartthrobbers. You know that's why I like the Heart Foundation. We're not the most heart-thriving or people's heart. And that don't have to be about beauty and looks. It's about caring or giving or paying attention to their matches. Well, do I have your attention now? They're the Heart Foundation because they're breaking hearts. Now they're breaking people's heart emotionally and investing, and also in their favorites. And that's why I kind of like to make them a female version of the Hearts. Just come out there and kick ass. They don't have to all be, they're under her umbrella. I kind of would like to see that where they go out there and they're just wreaking havoc. They're out there and they let them go across shows and platforms, beating up and just say certain things like that. Kind of. And I don't want to compare it, but they should go out there. What people will love the Death Riders to kind of be, and of course that's not hitting on that company. We'll get to that in a second, but they could kind of borrow a little bit of that, going out there and beating people in the back, the ladies. Then go, you're not kidding. We weren't in the Intercontinental Tournament. You could make that storyline with the mid-card title, with the Intercontinental. Oh, when none of us were part of the tournament, bam, I'm going to take this pretty girl out. I'm going to pick this one. Oh, now do we have attention, Adam Pearce? Now can we get it? We're coming for that Intercontinental title, no matter which edition or the tag teams. And make them important and relevant, even if it's for a couple of months and so forth. But now you're like, damn, I kind of want to see these girls get their asses handed to them because they were taking out a couple of our faves. And even if you want to, after the Rumble, give a couple of ladies a couple nights off where some kind of injuries, but they return for Mania. That's where you could do that, where you get some storyline investment with that. But we'll see how that goes. We'll close out Monday Night Raw with the main event, Rollins versus McIntyre, where we see Sami Zayn. Did he come out purposely to hit Rollins with the Huluma kick, or was that total accident? Chris, what's your thoughts? Is that the seed there planted by Kevin Owens? Kevin Owens hates the bloodline and wants everybody there. Sami Zayn, listen, heart, throat. What's your thoughts on that one?
Great match. I mean, these are two of WWE's biggest stars.
No, you're
good. I love how Netflix, despite of some of the issues, they're giving us big matches like this. Seth versus Drew. It was hard to predict the winner because so much right now, they're both kind of off the CM Punk feud. CM Punk's kind of won, I think Punk's moving on. I think these two right now are kind of don't know what direction really to head. So I think these two going at it with each other makes sense for now. I'm not surprised Rollins won. I think he's going to get a big push some way in 2025, whether it's winning another world championship or being in another, spotlight big match like he was on Netflix. I'm just now the only thing I'm confused with about Drew is this is the second week in a row he lost without taking a finish. Second week in a row he lost without taking a finish, according to my research. That's interesting because he's on a I guess we can say he's in a slump of losing, and that's not helping him be this dominant guy he was portraying at least to be while he was against Punk. I think Drew, and I've said this ever since the Punk and Drew feud ended, I don't know what we're gonna see because I think Punk was his perfect dance partner in a sense. We saw the best.
Always get back to that. You can always get back to that. There's a way.
Yeah,
you can always get back to that.
So until we do, I'm I don't want to say I don't know because there's obviously so many. You can put him in the ring with anybody and it would be great. But I'm curious to see what direction they take with him because he's losing 2 weeks in a row and he's not as hot as he was when he was feuding with CM Punk. That's just my honest opinion about Drew.
Okay. I mean, we'll find out what happens to Drew. I'll get that something about, with the Rumble. He could be one of the final four at the Rumble. If you tell me the final four Drew McIntyre is out there where, something happens where let's say a Roman Reigns does eliminate a Drew McIntyre. Now he's still more heat against the bloodline. He can't stand the bloodline because they got him gone. CM Punk and there's so many possibilities there. We'll get to preview the Rumble. I want to go little tiny more. We'll put a little rapid fire on the week. Of course, I don't want to do 6 months of wrestling in 30 minutes like all elite wrestling, but we'll do the next one. We'll move on to NXT. We'll get. Oh yeah, I got a little tongue whipping for their asses coming up. Of course, we got NXT. All in all, I'm gonna put this here. Wasn't a fan of Netflix Monday Night Raw on the 20th. Wasn't a fan. I thought to me that was a C+ or a D- show. I didn't really too much with the commercial placing and stuff like that. The in-ring, of course, they had some good ones that will save it from becoming a total snooze fest, but it was just not one of my favorites, to be honest with you. Let's go to some NXT here. With NXT, where a lot of people gave it heat, and I don't get sometimes people's viewing. Again, maybe you don't agree with me. Maybe you liked it. I tell everyone, at the end of the day, as long as you're an island of relevancy, when I mean island of relevancy, that's your own opinion. You're not a parrot, or you're not copying and pasting it, someone else's take and making it seem like it's yours. Be your own island of relevancy. So to me, I'm an island of relevancy when it came to NXT. I thought NXT was really good. Everyone stopped complaining about too many run-ins, too many champions not retaining. But this is a show that's setting up for week after week watching. You can then you complain about the flip-flopping of the titles. They just changed the NXT champions. You're not expecting Tony D'Angelo to drop his title immediately to Rich Holland. And by the way, that was a really good opening match there. That's one of my highlights there, to see Tony D'Angelo versus Rich Holland, where we saw the shenanigans of a story being built with the family that is Tony D'Angelo's family and the misfits or the outcast or underappreciated wrestlers that Sean Spears is trying to gather, or the misguided. I like what Sean Spears, because they're doing it slow and steady. They're not rushing it. They're not cramming it in with he's recruiting so and so. Now they're slowly building where a feud where it's simmering. They had a nice simmer with the D'Angelo family, Chris. And we saw referee distraction. Izzy Dane, that one caught me. Izzy Dane comes in with the pump kick to the face of Rich Holland, allows Tony D'Angelo to hit his famous, spine buster for the victory. What was your thoughts on that one, opening segment, or the opening contest?
I didn't catch too much of NXT this week, so I will be honest. I got to see some of the ending stuff, but I did see some of the beginning. Mm-hmm. This show, I didn't think it was bad. I got to still watch like the last 45 minutes, but from what I saw, it seemed like a pretty good normal NXT show. I did see the Bailey interaction, hear him come out there, Cora, and then got into it. But the NXT is good. I'm not gonna say too much about the opening because I don't really remember too much of it. I had such a crazy game Tuesday, but NXT I think is doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting more viewers. They're gaining more fans. I mean, I wasn't myself that big into NXT as I used to be until recently, mid 2024, I would say. And that's I think that's what NXT is trying to do right now. I don't think they're trying to put on the best, promos or
5 stars.
5 stars. They're not trying to do that. I think they're trying to see, okay, what works for these individuals, what's good for the show, what's good for, because at the end, look, NXT, you can argue NXT is developmental, it's not developmental. At the end of the day, it sort of is, despite all the success they have. And you got to see what you have. And they're doing such a great job. I don't think it's fair to criticize, even if this was a bad show, Kev. I don't think it's fair to criticize NXT because they're consistently putting on great shows and PLEs. You might have that one week, and it's in every company. You might have that one episode where it's like, okay, things are, they didn't do much. They had some burner matches that no one cares about. But this still didn't have that. Despite everything.
No.
So I gotta go check it out. From what I've seen, online, it was good stuff. I saw some of the main event. Was it Oba and Eddie Thorpe? That was a good main event. I didn't think that was. I saw a lot of people shitting on that main event. I thought it was great. Why? Because Femi won. We knew that was gonna happen, bro. Come on. But
yeah, I don't get it. I don't get when the IWC with the viewership of wrestling. And listen, again, I always tell you to be an island of relevancy, and if that's their island of relevancy, if they didn't like it, but it kind of sometimes feels like it's a forced take, they just want to dislike to dislike. I showed you my math, I showed you my work on why I dislike Netflix Monday Night Raw that we just came up with. It was the placement of the commercial of getting me to stay and watch or get into watching wrestling for 3 hours. It's a 2.5 hour show. You gotta keep me invested on a Monday night. You're returning from work, your ass is tired, working all day, whatever you do. To shout out to everybody that works and gonna watch wrestling is an escape. You have to keep us invested. I understand the commercials are there strategically to go get something to drink, go to the restroom, refresh, get some food, whatever the case is, that's a point. But me, there's a place and time for it. That's why I showed the work why I didn't like Netflix. Now for this NXT, people complain about the run-ins and so forth. They're also telling stories. They're introducing now the Sean Spears family. Now Don D'Angelo, very admired by Izzy Dane coming out and giving that pump kick. Why? He's like, ooh, wow, this beautiful tall blonde with long legs comes and saves me with a pump handle kick against Ridge. You're like, oh, you get flattered. You saw that flatter of emotion for Tony D'Angelo at the moment. And then you have again, Bailey comes out. When we see her all across the platform back on NXT for a second week in a row. We see Julia come out, showing her respect and admiration as one of the four horsewomen. Why she's in NXT, why she came to the WWE, why she crossed over to the United States to come to wrestle. You know, that story was told there. Then we have Cora Jade and Roxanne come out, cut the promo. By the way, I never seen four women look so hot in black leather in the ring. By the way, that I saw there. And then that brouhaha. Here's another thing I'm going to give a little bit of critique. This is the second week in a row they give the brouhaha, and they show backstage when they go into the stage with a picture-in-picture. At least we saw it on picture-in-picture, but I can't hear or what's going on. I know that they're kicking each other's ass, but there was a little spot there where they had a little bit. Last week there was like an interaction verbally. We couldn't hear it because we were in picture-in-picture. Those type of placement. Then you came back from picture-in-picture. And then you give us Deion Lennox intro, and then you go to commercial. No one wants the Deion Lennox introduction because, especially after fighting Wesley, he got squashed. It was a squash match. Why again? The placement of the commercials and keeping us wrestling folks invested in it. Yes, Mr. E, we are live. Salute to you. Here we go. We'll set you up. What is up? This is live indeed, live in the living color. And then they go into that. By the way, I love the backstage promo with Wesley and Trick Williams getting the shit slapped out of him. That was great for Trick Williams. Yeah, and Wesley sold that perfectly. They did the fingerprint on his face. You know, I love makeup artists did a phenomenal job there. That was great to see that there, and it fueled Wesley to go out there and beat the crap out of Deion Lennox in a quick squash match, showing you that Wesley, one of the second longest reigning North American champion, and he's going to take on Trick Williams, setting up for Atlanta. That is coming up in Atlanta. That's a match that these guys have no love lost for one another. They have had great matches in the past in the 2.0 era. I was in attendance for many of those matches. They're going to put on a banger and it get us invested. Too many run-ins. No, we saw Wesley getting it at the end with Tariq Tuhan. We saw Trick Williams come out for the save. Trick Williams gave that shoulder to Deion Lennox. Like, I'm not your friend, pal. And we're seeing a little bit of a change on Trick Williams. No more Mr. Nice with the block room. Everyone was gunning for you. Now you got to go back to where your basics is. You versus the world for Trick, and that's the story you got out of that. It's me versus the world. I'm not here to save. I'm not here to Captain save a wrestler. I'm out here to go kick ass and take names and go get my NXT World Champion, and I like that from Trick Williams, Chris.
No, I mean, it's interesting how Trick Williams. I don't know. I don't think he's gonna turn heel or anything like that, but you know, he has a little bit of a target on his back. You know, he wants that world title back. Wesley's one of the guys that I wanted to see this match for again for a long time. Wesley's one of the up and coming guys. You know, Wesley could be next. Trick Williams maybe doesn't want that to happen. So, I mean, I like this because you can't be like Cody Rhodes and you can't be this soft little baby face. Like at the end of the day, like I get it. No. Like it depends who you are, but you have to have some. Okay, I'm a baby face, but don't fuck with me. Like it can, like stuff could get really messy if that happens.
A chip on his shoulder, Chris. He needs a chip. He needs a chip, an edge, a fire on his shoulder.
Yes, and the baby faces, and especially the baby face champions, recently have lacked that. So it's good to see that Trick's doing this over at NXT.
Absolutely, and that losing that title over Femi because he wants that. Trick wants that title. He wants to be a 3-time world champion. I don't think anyone in NXT has been a 3-time world champion. So Trick is trying to make some history himself, where where there's an opportunity there. Only time will tell. In a match that I enjoyed, to me, the match of the night was Lexi King versus Charlie Dempsey. I'm a big Lexus King fan. I've always have been. I've been a fan of his father, Flying Brian Pillman, and they're nothing like each other, just by physically, yes, but their wrestling styles a little bit different. I like what Lexus King there is trying to play that ability of not resorting to tactics, dirty tactics, trying to turn over a leaf, but he did use a dirty move to retain his title, his Heritage Cup title, where against the North Quarter Touch Club. It was a fun, unhinging probably of Lexus King. What are your thoughts on that one? What do you think is that something good for Lexus King to cheat whatever he can and hold that cup? Because then it becomes compelling, in my opinion.
It's hard. It's a hard to answer because I'm not fully convinced whether Lexus King is fully heel or babyface. He's kind of, to me at least, he's always kind of been a in-betweener. So this could, I mean, I don't think this is I don't think it's a bad thing that he won the way he did. Him and Charlie have great matches for the last couple weeks, and you know they could do more with this in the future, and that could simply just be a way to build it up again. If you know they want to do it again, if that's what they're planning to do again, but I don't think it was a bad thing at all. Again, considering Lexus King, you know, people might like him and all like we do, but you know he still has that like that element in him. Like he still has that loose cannon, and I hate to say that because you know we're trying to so far to split the two, but you see that with him doing stuff like that, you see that, no pun intended, that loose cannon. So they're
building that.
No.
I think they're building that, Chris. I think that's the story.
I know, right?
What is it gonna take for him to finally become that loose cannon and break? Yeah. Could it be losing the Heritage Cup championship?
Losing the cup.
I think so too, because we saw the effect they had on Noam Dar. That cup has, again, storyline related with the NXT, and everybody says, "Oh, that's where storyline is important." That NXT Heritage Cup does things to certain holders of the cup. Noam Dar went in a little bit of depressed state. His obsession was for that cup. Charlie Dempsey had that little bit of obsession of getting that cup back. Can this be the final straw that pushes Alexis King to be that loose cannon over the top, embrace the dark side, of course, do a Star Wars reference, of the dark side, and join me and fulfill his destiny as a loose cannon in the Pillman legacy? That's a great storytelling development. Even if you're not a fan of Lexus King, that's there right there. All right, so let's get some shout outs here. We got my man Elliot.
Yeah.
Jason Yeet. Now, of course, Elliot, I can't wait to get back soon because we got a partner here for some NXT from AEW watch along and coverage. So Elliot, he's a big eight, and we got Chris. So I can't wait to pair you guys and go crazy on the All Elite Wrestling podcast. And we got Krista Flash. What's up, Chris?
How are you doing, brother?
He's at work. Salute. Absolutely. Thank you for the love and support. Don't forget, check out Chris the Flash channel as well. Appreciate you there. And of course, we're going to get right to this is something that is weird. I hate to say what I'm going to get into this next segment, where the match between Jada Parker and Carmen Petrovic. The IWC or the talking heads want to say that Jada Parker, when she came out, had no pop. The crowd was crickets, quiet. You guys don't know the deal. Jada Parker in that NXT crowd in Orlando, she is beloved. To me, they were not quiet. They were not quiet. That's you guys pushing that stupid narrative of what she tweeted, like, because I don't want to sound like I know inside stuff. There's a lot of people in that crowd that are Jada Parker Uber fans, and they weren't quiet. So stop with the narrative, the push. That there was no push. There was silence. There were crickets when she came out. That's all I got to say with that, without giving any peek behind the curtains. That I live in Orlando, Florida, by the way. How does he know? I live in Orlando, Florida. I know a lot of people that attend the Performance Center. I used to be a Performance Center attendee. Of course, because of work. I'm not gonna go into that. I don't go. It's been a while. It's been a year I haven't gone. But I'm telling you, she's got a lot of people supporting her in NXT in the Performance Center that was sitting in that crowd. So the fact that you're making up, fabricating that she had crickets and no one behind her, stop it. We love Tatiana. We love Jada Parker. We're going to continue to support and continue to cheer for her in the Performance Center in Orlando, big time. So don't make stuff up, man. So this match here between Parker and Carmen Petrovich, we're seeing the unhinging of the one and only Kalani. We saw Kalani hearing an important message to go out and make things happen. She's turning into a little bit of a heel. Cost of the match where Carmen Petrovich gets the victory right into the hands of Ashanti the Adonis. They embrace that relationship already. Jada Parker loses, and it doesn't hurt her. Like, oh, the WWE's burying her for what? It's a storyline progression because Kalani cost her the match. Jada went in another one. She's got to go through a little bit of adversity because she, right now, they go, oh, you see, they're just pushing her. They're making her white hot. You know, they're just force feeding her Jada Parker. Everything has a placement. Everything has a placement. Again, one more time. Everything has a placement storyline with the WWE. Like The Rock said, just sit back and enjoy the ride. Let them take you on that roller coaster ride when it comes to the women's division. Chris, it's weird, man. The IWC makes me laugh sometimes.
It's kind of ridiculous. I agree. Call me crazy. I think I heard more people heard this week than I have previous. Because look, I don't want to get into that, but you know, people now can relate to her and maybe agree with her. So she has fans. Again, I don't know people who I know a couple, like one or two, because like I go and deal, like I know some friends in Orlando, brother lives there. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you right now, my homeboy who lives in Orlando goes to some of the shows. He's obsessed. Yeah. Lola and Jada are two favorites. So she's not losing fans. She might have lost a couple, but I don't know what to say. The IWC needs to just worry about what is being presented in front of you in the wrestling world, and just who cares what, you know, Jada Parker outside of Jada Parker cares about. Like at the end of the day, we should all be talking about just her wrestling and not what the fuck she does behind the scenes.
There you go. Well said. And of course,
so
yes, we're right. We said it last week. We're not gonna continue doing that dance. We're gonna change the record on it. Well, we'll go right next to the next one here. And of course, something that we saw develop earlier was the Sean Spears group. You're gonna have now Nico Vance, Brooke Jensen taking on Stax and Luca Crucifino. But the storyline here, a big time here, we get Vance and Jensen win, but over Crucifino and Stax. The only difference is the Don did not accompany them to the ringside. They were waiting for him because he was having a conversation with Izzy Dane. Now, Izzy Dane, we've seen that Sean Spears is trying to recruit her. She is repulsed, does not want to hear anything from Sean Spears, but she helped with the pump kick early in the match to get the Don the victory. Don is showing, want to say, a little bit of a gratitude or mesmerized by the help from little human side from the Tony D'Angelo. He's not only just talking about business and monkey money or underboss stuff. He's got attention. The female got his attention there, the Don. You know, for whatever reasons, maybe an admirer, admiration, whatever the case is. That's part of the storyline. We got to find out as it unfolds for us. We see the family come back and kind of question, "Where were you? We needed you." He goes, "Guys, you've been doing this for a while now. You really don't need me. You guys got all the tools. You guys kind of like figure it out for yourself." Kind of separating himself from that mob mentality, or, you know, you need me, or codependency. You guys can do this on your own. I like where they're going with that with NXT. We'll find out. Nothing breaks up with the Beatles than a Yoko Ono. Just keep an eye on that. If you know that reference, if you're old enough, you know what I mean. So we'll definitely see where that goes there. And we get to the main event, Eddie Thorpe versus Oba Femi in a match. We saw Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. It's going to set up a Grayson Waller effect in Atlanta with Oba Femi, their guest. Find out there, of course. And we see a good match back and forth. Eddie Thorpe does not come victorious, although we saw up on the stage there, Grayson and Austin Theory keeping a close eye of the world champion, back and forth. We saw Trick Williams come out at the end, stare down with Oba Femi. and is setting up for Atlanta. What's next for the world champion? Is it Trick Williams rematch? Does it take Eddie Thorpe out of the world title picture now that he lost cleanly to Obafemi? Is Austin Theory or putting his name in the hat for against Obafemi for Vengeance Day? You know, they like to put a main roster wrestler on there to wrestle and draw the house for the pay-per-view premium live event gate. All those questions we'll find out in the Atlanta. I thought this was great. I love the counter, Thorpe's counter in the Hurricanrana. I thought it was great. I think Eddie Thorpe, to me, being in this world title picture, even if he's not going to be on no more, to me opened up a lot of eyes with Thorpe, his wrestling ability, and can hang with the main eventers. So I want to give Thorpe a credit for going over without going over in this NXT opportunity that they gave him. So bravo, Eddie Thorpe. You made me invested and want to see more of you. I thought that they cut him or they release him. It doesn't hurt them. I couldn't care too much. But now after that run, faking your injury to get the world title, all that storyline that they put him in, he knocked it out of the park for Eddie Thorpe. I wanted to give him his flowers and his props. And for Obafemi, he's the world champion everybody wants to see, Chris. So all in all, I thought NXT was a great show, a really good one, very fun. So, if I tell you guys to watch that, again, be your own islands of relevancy and take a look and be your own opinion, form your own opinion on the action of wrestling as well. So, all right. So, Chris, are you ready for Wednesday? This one I'm going to lean on you heavily. For all elite wrestling, we got some all type of here. The party is over and is no longer private, and we're ready to go on and more. We got an opening segment that everybody's talking about, good, bad, or different. Was the Kenny Omega Will Hairspray coming out? Back and forth promo with the Don Callis family coming in and interjecting. We got some moonsault from the top of the tower. By the way, NXT rating 813,000 plus, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure I see that correctly. 812,000 watched that for them. For All Elite Wrestling, they had that going on. That opening 15 minutes, it had the wrestling buzz for the world, for good, bad, or indifference. Chris, give me your thoughts there on that opening whole segment and all that.
First off, I don't see the problem. Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega are your biggest stars. I've said this since Kenny was announced to make his New Japan run. I think they need to build this company around him, Ospreay, MJF. Yeah. They need to do it. Guys, I'm what the fans, and I'm what Tony calls the sicko. I've been an AEW fan since day one, and I can tell you right now, they're trying to do something now because you have your stars, your main names on the show first. People aren't gonna click away. People are gonna be like, okay, at least let me see what Ospreay and Omega are gonna do before I click away from the channel. That's what's going to happen. That's what I did. I didn't watch this full show. The show fucking sucked. I didn't watch the whole thing, especially the main event. The main event was hard. The match was good. The storyline surrounding it was horrible. But this was not bad. It pushes the idea that Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega don't get along.
You pissed them off. Hey, he took over my show. What are you doing?
You push or this. Oh, okay. Let me get back to this real quick. It wasn't that bad. It pushes the idea that Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay kind of don't get along still, but Will Ospreay needs Kenny Omega's help to defeat enemies. They have mutual enemies that they both need to defeat. And Swerve, yes, Tony, Swerve. Those four people you need to build this company around. So when you put Ospreay and when you put Omega in the opening act, I'm at least watching it until it's over. And I think multiple people will. You're not out there putting on. What would you rather see, guys? Would you rather see an intense promo between two of the biggest stars in the company who've had great rivalries, not just in AEW, but outside? Or would you rather see some pointless bullshit opening match like we usually get?
Orange Cassidy?
I think this was the better opening, in my opinion.
A little Orange Cassidy? Put my hands in my pocket.
Fucking pockets in his hands? Come on now. Orange Cassidy is the worst. I've never said anything good about him, never will. But guys, this wasn't bad. I don't understand the criticism with starting your segment with this, because this honestly was better than what's ending the show. This should
right.
be. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right. Half of the stuff, I'm going to tell you why the criticism came. Yes, Will, Hairspray, and Omienda, they should be the ones, they're the big stars of the company. But here's the thing. You got to make it psychological. You got to make it make sense. You have them who, not so long ago, Hairspray had a fork or a screwdriver that was going to stick it in their face or the head of Omega. So I'm supposed to say, oh, that's water under the rug. We sweep it under the rug. You could be my pal now. They still got to show some animosity. Like, I can't trust you. You just try to put a screwdriver. You try to screw me in more ways than one. Also, instead of letting them go at it and build it, where could they coexist next week? Are they really going to team up? We know they eventually will. Make people wait a little bit. Slow and steady wins. Sometimes, again, this is the AEW issue. They want to give their fans microwave cooked food. The top is a little bit hot, and when you go into the meat in the middle section, or when you really dig into your meal, it's frozen. It's still, the microwave didn't really cook the whole meal. It's still cold. Just the top is hot. You might get your tongue burned for a moment, and then when you dig in, this is ice cold. This didn't really cook. And I think that's the problem with All Elite Wrestling. I've said it week in, week out. Also, if you got the Don Callis family come out with setting this match up for Australia, why are you going to go with the hot hometown favorite, Fletcher, who's from Australia? That he's going to get cheered. Why would you do that? You have 3 other members of the Don Callis family. Even if it's just a fill-in, why do you have to rush it? Why do you have to get to the rush? You want to rush them. Why you could have gave the other Brian Cage and who else is in that Don Callis family? Whoever the other 2 that came out there. No, you don't have to put a Takeshita or Rally, especially if this is not a pay-per-view, supposedly, which they thought there was. And that's another thing. Was it a pay-per-view? Was it a TV show? Was it a Dynamite? At the end of the day, even whatever it is, you don't want to put. You also got to have some common sense with your booking. You had all 4 of the Callis members come out to take on Omega and Ospreay, and they defended their ass as well. And you saw a great spot with the moonsault. Kyle Fletcher said, "Hey, come on, I'll give you a piggyback up to the balcony." But again, it was a great moment. It was a wow, holy crap moment. But then they beat up all 4 members. So what makes you think I want to watch them now up against 2? We just kicked 4 of you guys' asses. Now we're gonna take care of 2 of you. That's gonna be light work. That's another thing. The psychology, when you break things down, that's why it doesn't resonate. That's why there was criticism, because sometimes it sucks. Because sometimes we want to put logic where in an illogical story in a fantasy escape, what is called wrestling. It's a catch-22 when it comes to when we view wrestling, in my opinion. But if you want to go, Taz, like we want a little realism in our wrestling, and with the storytelling and all that good stuff, that's where people blur their lines or dislike or didn't like that when it came to that spot. Yes, you got to put your top wrestlers, your top drawers to be up front so people could stay. You can't have your 4 pillars week after week kick off and give you the highest ratings. I can't have Kutapali, Sheldon. I can't have Roz. I can't have Leonard be your top drawers of All Elite Wrestling. Big Bang Theory, they went off the air already, and they continue being the pillars of AEW. You can't have that. You gotta have people want to come in and watch you guys. Their time has come. Their time is gone. They're done, and that's tough when it comes to All Elite Wrestling. AEW scene screws themselves because they don't know how to build. No, they don't. They want to rush it, Tony. They want to give it to you, wham, bam, thank you, man, right there. The AEW is equivalent to the first date syndrome. They want to give it to you all on the first date, and then I don't know. I'm going to call her back. That's the problem, and it shows by their ratings. They drew a 655K on their ratings. They don't get past the 630, 640 mark. You know, they don't get to their 700,000 in viewership. And I don't want that nonsense say that Max has some more, and Max is not releasing the streaming numbers. If you look at Max, AEW is not even the top 10 in their most watched programming. So again, it's not to crap on the program. Again, I am not a fan of the company. I'm not. But I don't want to say here that I'm over negative or ultra negative. I said it last week, and I'll say it. How to get people invested is by using your social media YouTube platform. If you're a streaming company or you're into Max, YouTube is a big platform. They were doing great when they haven't you noticed? And here's a make a statement, a hot take. When they took away Dark Elevation from the YouTube chat platform, their ratings started declining. And those shows were putrid. Those shows were comedy. They were goofballs with all the matches, but people were watching on YouTube. And then guess what? You were promoting and you were telling people to turn into Dynamite because we're gonna have this match, regardless of how bad Dark Elevation or it was. People were still, the name was out there, the recognition. You know, you were being trained AEW. They stopped that, and everything kind of decline. Think about that, food for thought there. Here's another one that I wanted to talk about. You got the Hurt Syndicate taking on Private Party. Day one tag team. You have them kind of got squashed by the Hurt Syndicate. Why? Can you ask that? I know that because they're the new shiny toys. So you took your young talent from day one, who's still young, to put over a 50-year-old and a 47-year-old. Nothing wrong with ageism. I'm that age. I'm in that age group. There's nothing wrong with that ageism. Again, but why?
They never came close to winning the match, Kev. They didn't even come close. These guys are the same. This is the same tag team. Guys, I can give criticism to AEW. I hated this fucking show. I'm not one of those guys that are gonna be delusional, at least not anymore. This sucked. This was a bad tag team match. How do you have your tag team champions who are young guys, right? Who haven't had many opportunities since being in AEW. They beat the fucking Young Bucks.
I got it, yeah.
This company, the pioneers, the greatest tag team of all time, the greatest tag team in AEW history, New Japan. It's unforgettable. This makes it unforgettable. The reign sucked. And now you could have at least had them have a match. You didn't have to go out there and had Bobby Lashley. Like, we knew they were going to win, but this was a squash match. I mean, Private Party didn't have a chance. They didn't even get their main moves in. It was literally just Shelton and Bobby just squashing them. I hated it. And this doesn't make the Heart Syndicate look any better. This doesn't make them look good. They're not working with anybody on their level or anybody who can contribute to tag team wrestling like they probably can now. I think you should have let Private Party win this match, build their credibility a little more in the tag team division, then have this match again, then have the Heart Syndicate win it. Now you have no tag teams. Now it just makes Private Party. Now it makes us all look stupid. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. You could have at least given us a match out of this, not just have the two WWE guys go in there and win. You know what I mean?
And that's the problem. Now it throws the shade on the ex-WWE narrative, where we don't want to hear that, but the owner books it that way, and he contributes majorly to this tribalism that is right now in the IWC. It's him. He's from day one as him, and everyone says he's been great for wrestling. He's been putrid for wrestling. There has never been so. He was not. I could go sit here for hours to tell you and bring all the many examples there. People, just because you spend money, like I tell you this much: his family's, they're horrid for Jacksonville football in Florida.
His dad's the worst.
Exactly. The worst. The proof is not far.
You know who's in charge of their analytics and
Tony Khan.
Tony, like,
yeah, exactly.
really?
He's
Yeah.
running so he's supposed to be running a wrestling company, and he's supposed to find out their analytics and tell them which players to sign in the NFL, and who's scouting who's going to be the next up and comer blue chipper in the 7th to 6th round for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's inept. It's inept from the football and all of NFL. And listen, I'm a Jet fan, so I can't sit here tooting my horn. My organization is a joke as well. But they're at least Johnson & Johnson, they only on one thing. They're only worried about, because they don't even run the products. They're only worried about the Jets dysfunction. This guy wants to dip in and spread the dysfunction across wrestling and NFL. And it's, my goodness. Private Party, where do they go with this with Private Party? Now, do you really care? No. It's the same. You know what they got into? They became Austin and Colt Dunn and the Acclaim, where they were hot for a little bit, and now you don't really. Okay, who cares? Don't really care. MJF said the best promo about Tony Khan. Yeah, exactly. Tony Khan with exactly with that MJF there. I feel bad. This is what they could have done. If they were going to take the tag team titles from Private Party, they should have, and to be honest with you, it should have been MVP and Shelton Benjamin winning the tag team titles, not Bobby Lashley. You didn't bring Bobby Lashley in to be a tag team champion. You brought Bobby Lashley to be a main eventer, a world title contender, or TBS champion if you want to go that route with that mid card, or one of the All Atlantic titles and so forth. Not a tag team. I think Bobby Lashley did a disservice. You tell me Bobby Lashley steps up with his Hurt Syndicate to the Death Riders? All right, you guys want to be Death Riders? We're gonna hurt your asses. And we're gonna hurt you. We're gonna take your name and we're gonna fucking kill you. Just like here's my calling card. Yeah, we're gonna hurt your asses. We're gonna take that briefcase and we're gonna shove it sideways and we'll stick it up your ass. No, they put him in the tag team. That's the issue. Why? Because they were and I hate to say it, guys, because they were the other black tag teams that they're gonna put him in. It seems like they book to race sometimes when it comes to All Elite Wrestling. Why? Who cares? It's matches, it's wrestling, it's investment. Who cares of the creed in the race? Who gives a crap? Go out there and put me. I want to see Bobby Lashley knock the shit out of Jon Moxley. You couldn't. No. Especially the Death Riders is not hit at no cylinders. Listen, it's time to pull the plug on that. That's terrible. It doesn't work. It's cringe. Yeah, you got guys sitting now. Private Party will join a long list of people sitting at home. Speaking of sitting at home, now Dr. Big Breaker wants out of All Elite Wrestling. Now the reports. Here comes the hero. Here comes Captain Sabacon, Sean Rod Sapp. Oh, wait a minute. She's got 2 years left on her contract with health time, so she's not going anywhere. No one asked you. It's a privately owned company where we don't know when the contracts are up or where they come out. So the fact that you're coming out throwing names on our timeline, I got to the point with All Elite Wrestling, when I see them finally in the WWE, that's when or in TNA or elsewhere, I know they're free from that contract. I don't know who has what, who signed what. I don't even believe Malachi, aka Aleister Black, is actually free, even though they cut a promo with Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter, another two that they were uber hot, on fire, and no one gives a shit about neither one. Julia Hart, before getting injured, everyone's sweetheart darling. Julia Hart, TBS champion, all that. She is great. She's grown, 22 years old, young face of the company, growing up in that mid-card title. No one gives a shit about her anymore. That match with her and Jamie Hayter and by the way, that was Jamie Hayter's first time ever cutting an in-line promo ever in All Elite Wrestling. Everything was backstage. Everything's backstage. Yes. Go ahead and check my fact.
I just never realized that. Holy shit.
I'm telling anyone who could hear my voice, fact check me. If I'm wrong, you can email me, bsjedi76@gmail.com, and tell me you were wrong, asshole. Simple.
That's
Simple.
That's the girl that everyone thinks is the star, could or should be the star of the women's division.
She left, and she came back as a Dollar General Becky Lynch. I mean, come on. So you couldn't sign her. It's like, yeah, Big Breaker is as an AEW made company. Yes, And she was the first signet signed. She was the first woman to be signed, first wrestler to sign for All Elite Wrestling. Put her name to pen and paper. So since she's unhappy and wants kind of released or wants to, she didn't even ask for release. She just wants more television time. She wants to be put. So now they're fabricating stories about her that she was with infidelity on Adam Cole. The reason they're not together because of an infidelity by Bit Breaker, where she was taking care. And again, I'm not here to be a social justice warrior or a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not here to advocate or defend. But remember, Adam Cole had a broken leg. He was suffering from some concussion, some scary moments in his health issue. Bit Breaker was by his side there, and he said it. He said in an interview they amicably separated, and they became extremely best friends. They realized romantically they're not winning for each other, but what they've done for one another's career and friendship works to a great opportunity. Hey, Fauci. I got my friend here, Mr. Fauci. Hello. Hopefully he comes on the camera. Let's see if I can get him on the camera. Let's see. There's a friend of mine there. That's Mr. Fauci. Yes. Australian colleague. There you go. Oh, there you go, Mr. Fauci. Say hi. There we go. All right. I love when our friends come in. Our friends come in and say hello. Of course, this is a dog home. We have all types. You guys see my friend Frenchie, Indy, and we got Fauci. Hey, Fauci. Oh, look at that. Oh, nice kisses. I got kisses today. There you go. Hey, good boy. Sit on that. Oh, you want to sit on my lap? Oh, here we go. Come on. All right, let's see that. I didn't think we were going to get a pretty, there we go. He's like, here we go. Here we go. I'd love to bring it. So we're live and in color, ladies and gentlemen. And here it is. A good boy. Oh, okay. I got kisses. All right. So let's get right back into it, man. We kind of needed Fauci to come in and change the mood a little bit because AEW got us a little heated. Good job there, Fauci. Good boy. All right, so we'll go right into this, Chris. With this week alone on Busted Open, we have Mariah May come out. Mariah May is your current All Elite Wrestling champion. Female champion, doing a great job. She says she's only been on live television for about a year or a year and a half, working on live TV. That's about right. And for her resume, that what she said, phenomenal. I wasn't a fan of hers until I heard that interview, and I was like, man, I'm even more of an Uber fan. I'm cheering for her. Pretty much said that she wants to do kind of more sports entertainment. She doesn't care about the 5-star match, the 20-minute 5-star match. She wants to entertain, get people invested. She wants to get in a live mic and speak in front of people, not backstage. She says she's never been in front of a live mic in front of fans, and they only give her backstage promos, where it's just kind of, and she's sounding frustrated. And again, be your own island of relevancy. Hit it. Listen to that interview on Busted Open. I believe it was Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, for that interview. Check it out and be your own ears and make your assessment yourself. But from when I heard of it, I heard frustration from the champion. And now that Toni Storm, she's going to wrestle Toni Storm in Australia. Who do you think is winning that match in Australia?
Toni
and
Storm
again, there's nothing wrong.
Yeah, and then she's going to, have this gimmick to where I was just kidding, guys. I know who I am. Corny.
Yeah, it's corny. It's corny. The amnesia gimmick is corny.
So I don't blame Mariah May. She's not one of my favorites.
But Chris, I can't sit here and be hypocritical either, because I'm going to stop myself, because at least Toni Storm is trying to put a storyline behind it. And when we're complaining about that, there's no storyline. So I gotta stop myself too and apologize. And I don't want to be hypocritical, because I am now by saying it sounds corny, but at least they're attempting a storyline with Toni Storm with the amnesia. So I'm gonna stop myself and correct myself and recognize that at least they're trying with a storyline. I gotta give them a kudos. I gotta give them the good old college try, the good old thumbs up when it comes to Toni Storm. It's not just go out there and take it from her. So we'll find out. And of course, they have so many women on that roster not doing much. Now, Deonna Purrazzo is the last one to complain about lack of television time. They had her now in Ring of Honor wrestle. She didn't sign the Ring of Honor. She signed to be in Dynamite, to be on their main television show, not just Catastrophe on Saturday nights and Collision, but to be on Dynamite on Wednesdays. Deonna Purrazzo is the Knockouts champion, two-time Knockouts champion, Knockouts tag team champion. Deonna Purrazzo has a great resume behind her. One of the longest Ring of Honor Women's champion. And she's got pedigree in her. The Venturosa. Now you had her 2 weeks on Dynamite, and then here comes Mercedes, and I won't see you again anymore. That's not cool either. That's the problem when it comes to Khan. He brings the next new shiny toy, and then off to obscurity you go. You got to have some consistency on booking, rotating these wrestlers, not force feeding all the time the new shiny toy, and then once they lose or whatever the case is, something else comes in, off you go. One of their hottest female babyface is Willow Nightingale. You telling me Willow Nightingale shouldn't be in a main title picture run? And I hate to sound like that person, like, oh, I kind of, be honest with you, out of all the women besides Mariah May, because she wants to grow, it's Willow Nightingale. You put her in the WWE, she's going to get that same babyface run that Bianca Belair gets. Little girls would love to be, you can market to young ladies, young girls with a Willow Nightingale in the ring. Willow Nightingale is in the wrong company. Yep. She goes to the WWE machine. My goodness, she will be the babyface times 2 of Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair because you could put some heel in Bianca. You could see where she is. They're not going to do it because of the braid, the tail, and the women. Little girls look up to Bianca. Willow is right in that level. And if Tony Khan will wake up to see that what Willow Nightingale's there, I mean, my goodness, it's not in Mercedes. Mercedes is the best wrestler for female they got there. It's Willow Nightingale should be the face of the women's division, because if you want to grow your crowd, your viewership, Willow Nightingale caters to the young ladies, the women, where she's that wholesome baby face. They have to tap into that. They have to tap into that there, and I don't know if they will. I don't know. Why can't you give us a Willow Nightingale and Deonna Purrazzo match, where a person that could elevate a Willow Nightingale to another level is a Deonna Purrazzo. You put that there. You don't have to put that in Collision when no one's going to watch 200,000 people. Put it at Dynamite. Have some balls. Have some guts. Put that there. That's a hell of a match. Simple booking. Get us invested there. You have Tyra Valkyrie, who is together with Deonna Purrazzo, where they could put a storyline we don't dislike. Then you have Statlander, who don't know if she's going to be a babyface today or a heel tomorrow. Sometimes she feels like a nut, sometimes she don't. You could put that there. She's going to come to the babyface rescue or help out her old friend Willow Nightingale. This right there, simple, just spitballing right now, a little bit of a storyline. And I'm not saying it has to be my way either, but I'm saying these are the type of connections or conversation meetings they should be having at All Elite Wrestling with the creative. Or if someone chooses not to, I don't know if they do or don't, but it shows like someone chooses not to have a creative writing. Maybe Tony is too busy analytically scouting the NFL college or the college teams for players, and he can't rely on booking or writing. It seems like he's overspent. Push from here, push from there. Because hey, listen, being part of the NFL for an office is a 24-hour deal, and then a wrestling company too. That's a lot. I think it's too much on that man's plate, in my opinion. I think that's how it goes.
A football team in the UK.
Look at that. That's another one. So there's so much. I think that man has too much food on his plate for him to delegate. He doesn't trust anyone to delegate, or he's not surrounded with the right people to tell him, I don't think this is the right thing, which in the wrestling business, he's got a lot of good people there that are just stealing money from him. Well, all this thing about Dustin Rhodes, where's his influence or thumbprint in All Elite Wrestling? If it is, it's a terrible. He's far away from his father's booking.
I want to talk about one thing real quick, because then I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about AEW after this. Why is Jeff Jarrett out there trying to get a world title shot instead of booking the show? Or instead of being behind the scenes? Why is Jeff Jarrett the reason why I fell in love with AEW so much when they first started is because they were appealing to the younger audience like myself. You're telling me you're still appealing to the younger audience like myself when you have a 57-year-old Jeff Jarrett, a guy who was in his prime when I wasn't even fucking alive? He's been a heel. He's been a heel his whole career, and they're expecting me, guys, young guys like me, to cheer on this man. And yeah, you know what? You're gonna go get him. No. Why? And he's being booked with MJF to try to get Jeff Jarrett over when that's not helping him. That's not helping him. I don't understand the Jeff Jarrett world title situation. He's about to go over. Claudio Castagnoli is about to put this man over and set him up for a world title shot. That's fucking embarrassing, in my opinion.
You know why? Because everybody likes to slap nuts.
Probably.
I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Why is that man back there booking the show? Why is he out there trying to get a world title shot?
Because he probably knows, he sees the writing on the wall. The owner doesn't want to listen. So he says, why am I going to be here wasting my 5 or 4, whatever, a few years left as an in-ring competitor? I might as well go out and try to help a company where I might as well go out there and just wrestle.
It's not helping. No one wants to.
And this company is trying to be built, and great one. You we share the same thunder, Tony. Jarrett, Colt, Jericho, Christian does some great heel work, but let's face it, he's a great promo. His ring is okay. It's not that greatest thing there. But they're all older. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, MVP, elderly statements that shouldn't be, yes, we like to see the nostalgic run and store. We love it, but this guy should not be on a weekly episodic wrestling show. This is what made All Elite different. You had the Bucks who were young. You had Cody when he first came out was a young MJF. Though that pinnacle, with Santana Ortiz, and of course Matt Menard, and they're not doing nothing now. Matt Menard and the other and the whole group there that came out with Jericho knowing nothing.
Where's Darby Allin?
He's climbing Mount Everest.
Why isn't this guy on TV? Why aren't they doing anything with Darby Allin? He's one of the biggest baby faces that company fucking has. They don't do anything with him. He could be a Jeff Hardy for that company. Call me crazy, but it's there. All the kids make their faces. All the kids dress like him. He has it. They don't do anything with him. Put him in the WWE system and see how far he goes. And as long as he gives up the stupid shit that he does in the ring. But character-wise, he has all the kids painting his face. All the kids wearing skateboards. They can't do anything with the stars that they have that are young and that have futures. And Cornette says it all the time. He's not a fan of AEW. He's a fan of some of the guys that work there that wish they were in a better system. And Darby's one of those guys. But yeah, look, I don't want to say too much about AEW. I think it's a waste of time.
That's fine. No, that's great. We're this is a safe space. We're letting our frustration on this company.
It's sad. It's so sad to watch what this company has become because there's so much good wrestling out there, and especially in 2025, and they make it sometimes hard to follow shit. It's like when I watch a Monday Night Raw on a Monday and an NXT on a Tuesday, and then I go into AEW, and it's like, holy shit, what did I watch? And then TNA, I'm starting to get more into TNA Impact again. Like, they're just doing stuff that's so, I don't want to say different, but because every company has their differences and their similarities, but at least the other shit makes sense. And sometimes I just can't grasp on what they're doing in AEW. I can't. I used to be one of those guys that like, but this is what they're trying to do, guys. Just this is what I can't do. I can't be that guy anymore. I can't. It's not there. It's not there.
And you're not the only one. A lot of other AEW fans are feeling that same feeling. Like, what are we doing here? I mean, the company. I mean, they even to the point where they're accused of JEDI, and I don't like the guy. You got JEDI from New York. Totally makes a great valid point. AEW made that.
How much I agreed with him recently.
they made that for relevant to his takes by the crap that they put. He became important because of this running of a wrestling franchise. Now this guy, he's got points to. He actually makes to listen to him. I gotta give credit where credit's due.
Yeah, me too. He has me blocked and probably doesn't like me, but I don't like him. But he speaks nothing but facts about the company as of recently. Him and his boy, I don't know his name, but yeah, they speak facts.
And his boy is an Uber AEW lover. I mean, this guy will go on his two knees and he open up wide, and he's even talking negative about All Elite Wrestling. They used to call him Deep Throat, and now he hates AEW. You know, it's just I mean, it's everyone is getting upset and frustrated, and I don't see there's any changes coming to the organization, to the franchise, unless the only change is going to happen is the financial returns. Speaking of financial returns, and Warner Brothers president of operation is resigned. So the Warner Brothers is going to have a new CFO, new CEO. They start cutting things out. What's the thing they're going to look at? Especially if they bring a guy who don't believe in wrestling or doesn't think wrestling is good for the TBS or the Max family or all that stuff. There is some change. There's some danger. And All Elite Wrestling is a little bit of some danger there. And they have the ability themselves to change the narrative by booking and they're already downsizing in arenas. They're already downsizing in attendance. Their viewership is shrinking. They're shrinking more quicker than old men in the cold water. It's a tough one. It's a tough one for them. And again, I'm not a fan of them, but if they go away, it won't hurt me. But there's a lot of people that it will. There's a lot of people that will. My sons go. I have purchased for them tickets to go to the events, so I have contributed financially to their company with live events and stuff. I'm not gonna lie with that there because they love it. That's what my son's happiness is. Both of them is the best thing in the world for me as a father. But my point is, they need to move. They gotta move fast. They gotta make things go in the right direction for this company, and they have to. And we don't know what it is. So many different things. I mean, we could sit here and we already sit here and dissect this. We didn't even talk about AR Fox versus Swerve Strickland. Why?
I don't. It's not. Swerve squashed him next. Hangman squashed his.
When I hear of AR Fox, I think of a jobber. I don't disrespect AR Fox. Like when has Tony Khan ever booked AR Fox where I care about where he's gonna win? And I actually going into the match, AR Fox has a great chance of beating Swerve Strickland. That's like, damn, that's a match because I don't know who the hell's gonna win. No, like you said, squash next. You know who did the cowboy shit wrestle? Oh, local competitor. So they even have the guys.
Local guy. It wasn't even a guy in that was a local guy. Yeah.
Oh, Hammernager. So they put him out there. So a Hammernager versus. Okay, I mean, come on. I mean, then we get the Julia Hart, Jamie Hayter match, where two of the hottest women, and for them, you just went through a ham sandwich with the Hammernager, and you got a terrible squash match between Swerve Strickland and AR Fox, where you checked out. How is that Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart really you in when you got two squat matches that you couldn't give a shit about or care about? So how are you going to really want to get into that? Like, really, do you think either one of these ladies is going to be AEW World Champion or TBS World Champion when you got Mercedes out there like Thanos connecting all the titles from all the independent scenes? No, you don't. You can't get into it. Then of course you get the main event, where all I can think of, to be honest with you, Chris, at that main event is what they did to Colt. Or where did I see that before? Judgment Day, when they threw him out of the thing. I can always see him with his stupid face in the camera with something in his mouth. That's it. That's all I can think of Colt. That should be his swan song. Always having a couple people kicking his ass with something in his mouth, stuffing him like a pig on Christmas.
I agree. I mean, I don't like. I said this. I didn't mind the match between him and Pac, but the storyline surrounding it sucks. It's horrible. I don't give a shit about FTR and rated R, FTR, whatever the hell they're doing. I don't give two shits about Moxley. They still haven't told us why Marina Shafir is with him. They haven't told us anything. What? Okay, they're not. It's just a Blackpool Combat Club with Marina Shafir and a new name. Nothing special. Moxley's probably the worst AEW World Champion the company's ever. Not the first time. Not the first time he won it. The first time he won it was good. He had his feud with Punk. Now this title reign that Jon Moxley currently has is the worst. Is the worst title reign AEW has ever had. Ever. And Adam Copeland isn't gonna fucking help you guys.
No. And then you don't even see the title. Like he's right, Tony. Where's the damn belt? It's stuff.
Where is it? Exactly. Where's the belt? Where is it?
It's a belt.
You see it on AEW TV.
And no end game. No end game. As much as people shit and try to shit or complain about the Bloodline storyline, at least you see where they could possibly an end game. Could be Punk. It could be Roman versus Rock. Yada yada. At least, but when it comes to the Death Riders, where's the end? Where's the end? Or where's the possible? And again, I don't want them to rush to the end, but now they have to wrap it up now because it really isn't hitting, and they're not building anything. Because everybody thought that this Death Rider was like, oh, this is a great thing because Shane McMahon is gonna come out and he's gonna save this. There's no Shane McMahon, people. There's no Shane McMahon. What, you really thought you were really that gullible to think it was Shane McMahon coming out because he took a picture in an airport with Tony Khan? When Shane McMahon has a business in Europe, selling commercialized stuff and whatever the case is, it was a business deal. It wasn't a wrestling deal. It got clicks. It got everyone clicking, copy and pasting. That's why I always tell you, be your own islands of relevancy. Stop copying, stop clickbaiting, stop copy and pasting one guy's wrestling hypothesis and make it seem like it's golden. You know, it's nice when you say, I was right. I've done that myself. But they all are speculation. Be your island of relevancy. Jon Moxley is super stupid. He's not Stone Cold Steve Austin. Absolutely. He wants to be this hardcore hard ass, and he just comes like he's trying too hard. He just comes out trying too hard. Mm-hmm. It does. He's just trying too hard. Like even in his independent matches, when he had that guy from GCW put his hands down his pants. I'm like, yeah. Or it's just Moxley. I mean, there's people that like him. Is he a top wrestler? Maybe that's your cup of coffee. It's just not working for All Elite Wrestling right now in your main event picture for Jon Moxley because he's not getting you invested. Or you know, his whole group is just not hitting. It's not hitting right now. It's not hitting. There is no end game. There's no one there. They took out Darby Allin. He decided to go climb a mountain. Now with Pac, FT Bohr. You know, they're no one really. I mean, you know, it is what it is. But then the one I'm going to give kudos to, and hold on this week's Dynamite for make that money, the Rock and Roll Express. To see those two old farts still making money on TV, make money, keep relevant. Let's go, keep rocking and rolling there. Man, I'm pretty sure Ricky Moore and everybody, they'll put a better match than any of the Private Party. They're even more over than Party, and then that's how funny it is, man. So, all right, let's go to TNA, man. We spent a lot of time on All Elite Wrestling, good, bad, and different on that there. It's crazy. Put the belt on Ospreay and stop giving the old wrestling TV time. But then people are gonna Tony. That's a good one. Yes, eventually Ospreay should get the world title. But weren't you out and surprised when he didn't win the Owen Hart tournament and he lost? It was like, oh, he didn't win because he was like, oh, here we go, Tony Khan rushing Ospreay, pushing him, giving him titles. But now, yes, I agree with you. Maybe after Double or Nothing is the Ospreay era. You gotta go. You have to pivot to Ospreay as world champion because Okada as the All Atlantic is not hitting either. So you gotta, again, it all goes with creative and booking. If you don't give me a reason to care about Will Ospreay, what struggles, what situation, tap into that he's away from his family in England because he's coming to wrestle for All Elite Wrestling. Waving the banner for All Elite Wrestling has to make sacrifice for his family in England. Right there, that's a storyline right there. Like, he's not home to see all this thing because he's out there night in and night out. You could put a montage of him doing suplexes and all the spot fests that he does, putting his body on the line because he's waving the AEW flag for the sickos while his wife is at home alone with his kid, not seeing daddy, but watching daddy on television. How you gonna you get your fan base invested behind a wheel hairspray? Is he gonna be the world champion? Come so close but couldn't. I mean, all that you could build that in 6 months, man. Yep. All right, let's go to TNA live, first time in over 8 years. To me, I had so much fun watching TNA there. Seeing Joe Henry come out, saying that he's going to be a fighting champion. He talked to, and of course, Santino Marella getting a pop coming out. Huge pop for the Authority. Love it. They come to an agreement that TNA title will be defended anywhere, at any time. He's coming out kind of like an open challenge, and Santino immediately teases and gets him his first opponent, none other than the indie god himself, Matt Cardona, wooing down the route. We got a main event, Joe Henry versus Matt Cardona, opening the doors for planting some seeds for maybe down the road in TNA's Joe Henry run, because he called out John Cena on Busted Open. And could we, first and foremost, your thoughts on Matt Cardona answering the bill for this first opponent?
I give all the respect in the world to Matt Cardona. He truly is the indie god. This guy isn't signed anywhere. He's appearing everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up in the Rumble. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I think Matt Cardona being possibly Joe Hendry's first, whoa. Like, this guy's just going to companies and going up against great talent. I mean, say what you want about Chris Jericho, but it's at the end of the day, it's Chris Jericho. He's an established wrestler in this business, and him going after Joe Henry, it's gonna make Joe Henry legit, even more than he is right now, because Cardona's a great worker. He has his loyal fans, on Twitter, on the indie scene. So this is great. More eyes are gonna get on TNA from Matt Cardona, and Matt Cardona is gonna be showcased on a bigger platform. And I give all the props to Matt Cardona and what he's doing right now. I think this is great. This is great. It's going to be a great match, great feud, great everything.
Absolutely for Matt Cardona. I love to see that he's going to be, bouncing around, like you said, that independent work there. He wants a full-time contract, although I think at this point he's kind of saying that, and I think he likes what he's doing as that independent scene, having his dates open. You never know where he's going to pop up and show. For kind of like the indie. Yeah. All right, we saw backstage before they had our first opening contest with Eric Young talking to Josh Alexander, by the way, who quit. They recapped that Mike Santana match versus Josh Alexander. I advise you to see that. That could have been the match of the night easily on Genesis if it wasn't for the world title moment. But again, be your own islands of relevancy and pick the one you like yourself as the viewing audience. Remember, that's why I always tell you guys, be that islands of relevancy on your decision making. But we get that matchup. We see Macklin with Eric Young. Like, why are you catering and worrying about Josh Alexander? He wants to quit and leave us. Let him be. Bye, God, be guy. Ciao, goodbye. Don't let the door hit you on your ass on your way out. But then Alexander's trying to kind of make some peace, or on his way out, thanking them and sharing a ring together, going to battle with together or against each other. And Macklin's not feeling. He's not feeling it, where it kind of leaves a little bit of a dissension or a little bit of a refusal of a Macklin agreement of, get out. I don't care. You're gone. You're dead to me type of deal. Can't wait to see where that goes there. And TNA, their first match. This is how the wrestling business is evolving as well. Their first match, not promo, not segment, their first in-ring action is a 6-woman matchup. They got Spitfire along with Marsha Slamovich, taking on Ash, the House of Elegance, we could call that there, with Rosemary in an uncharacteristic pairing, seeing Ash by Elegance there with Rosemary. That was a ball on. That match was really good with the quick pace action.
Yeah, you had two of the, you had the two tag, Spitfire and Dana. They had their match. Then you had Rosemary and Slamovich. It was that was a good way you could, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really need, like, it makes perfect sense on why they would, start a match like that. Because, those two tag teams went at it, they had it, 6-man women tag. I like it. That's why I've always liked that about the knockouts division is they know how to put on matches, whether the people on the card aren't as established or aren't, they have a name but aren't, like Dana Brooke, for example. Not the knockouts does a good job booking wise. I think I've always said that. I think they booked very well.
Yes, I tend to agree with you. And we saw both that the current tag team, Knockouts tag team, do a little bit of a Motor City Machine Gun tribute there. By the way, TNA that night had a lot of Motor City Machine Gun shout-outs and references throughout the course of the night. Well deserved. You think of TNA tag teams, you think of immediately Motor City Machine Gun. So I love the fact that the announcers, Matt and Tony, kept referencing both of them all throughout the night. It was great. And to see, Spitfire with Danny Luna and Jody Threat just continue to do their thing as a tag team, elevating. And before we get a result, we got Cora Jade coming out. The one and only Cora Jade with an envelope. Had an envelope handed over to the Knockouts World Champion, Marsha Slamovich. She opens it up. It's a picture of her sitting in NXT with an X on it. A little bit dissension there where she gets pushed onto the apron. And, of course, great way for House of Elegance to get the victory with Rosemary with the pin there on that. I love the way they did the finish. They protected, because of the interference for Cora Jade, not physical, but just her interjecting herself, being out there, her presence. I love the way they did that. And right team won, and we have to be continued because now House of Elegance, if they want to get another rematch for the Knockouts title, it's there because they got pinned. They received the pin in that loss. And then you're building up heat for Marsha Slamovich with Cora Jade. So it all makes sense. It ties into himself, and it could be played off on not just TNA Live. It could also extend now to NXT Live, which is great for that because NXT this Tuesday will be live from Atlanta, Georgia. You could play that there where they're going to set up that match in front of a live CW. Guess what? Network television, where everyone's watching, gets to see the Knockouts World title on your television. Although I think they announced the Bayley teaming up with Julia against Roxanne and Cora. So I don't know if they'll put that match there or for Vengeance Day. You got the premium event coming up, or we before the night kicked off, we were told that they're going to be live again on February 20th, where in my beautiful city of Orlando, Florida, in the Full Sail Arena. So they're going to TNA is going to go live once a month for now. Maybe more dates as more people start watching and craving the show. Maybe they'll start coming live more frequently on a Thursday night, which is all win-win. And if you got matches like that, just to open your opening contest and your opening promo with Joe Henry and a surprise for Matt Cardona, TNA is the place to be. TNA is the live event to watch because, my God, you never know what's going to happen there with TNA. And then we get to, Josh Alexander is going to have his in-ring promo with the Northern Armory, where we all know that he's going to quit, and we kind of see the handwriting on the wall. Northern Armory turns on one and only Josh Alexander. They're like, no, you're not leaving. We'll tell you when to leave. I like that because it sets up a match where Eric Young comes out to help him. Now it's going to be a tag team match, which is going to happen this Thursday coming up. The Northern Armory versus Alexander and Eric Young. Here's my theory. I think if I had the pencil, I think Steve Macklin takes over the Northern Armory. He's going to put them under their wing, and I think they're going to usher out a little bit of they're going to hurt Eric Young, put him on the shelf for a little bit, just write him off for about a week or two until he finds some other people to help him. And Josh Alexander will be written off, when you go to the WWE or to NXT, whatever. But I think he'll be back with some help, reinforcement. But my point is, I think it's Steve Macklin who's going to take them under their wing. And I'm for it, Chris. I can see the handwriting on the wall.
I agree 100%. I think Steve Macklin's a little bit not jealous, but you'll lose one of the big stars you have in the company. He's probably feel some type of way, like, oh, like you're leaving us, like you want to go somewhere better. Are we not good enough for you over here after all this stuff? So I see definitely what Steve Macklin's got going on. But I'm curious to see what happens there. I think he, maybe you get a little push out of Alexander leaving and stuff. But I think this makes sense from that standpoint. Like he's probably like, okay, like if you want to leave us for something better, if we're not good enough, see ya, bye. Like I think he's kind of like upset, like he's losing, they're losing Jim.
And I wouldn't be upset with that. It makes sense. By you explaining that, if you're watching that, it wasn't convoluted. It wasn't that you had to go, it made sense. But simplicity, but it touched some realism. And now you're invested in that story. Simple. It wasn't all of the top or you didn't have to him running and screaming. It was perfectly executed and mentioned. And one of the popular nights, the biggest Raw on one of the popular nights was the next match. It was the Hardys taking out the System, Moose and JDC. The Hardys continue to define age. And talk about, we talk about all the wrestling putting tag team titles on some older wrestlers, with Shelton Benjamin and Moose, Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. But when you see Moose with with JDC taking on the Hardys as a tag team champion, what's the big difference? They built the Hardys so people want to see them. They're craving where their merchandise, their meet and greets are off the charts. The AEW fan base got to learn, if you wanted the Hurt Syndicate to be over like that, you have to give them that Hardys type of want, where the Hardys now pull in the viewership, pull in the crowd, pull in the house, draw the house like they like to call, where I don't think the Hurt Syndicate is drawing the house. There haven't been any bumps there if you want to compare them, because you say, wait a minute, you're complaining about the Hurt Syndicate on one program, but meanwhile the Hardys, who are older than dirt, they're tag team champions. Well, I'm trying to show you the work on my math equation, like they say, on why I think it works for TNA, because the Hardys have a lot of success on why the house is drawing, because people want to see them. You hear they like, I like Bubba Ray likes to say, he doesn't watch wrestling, he listens. He watches by listening to the crowd, listening to the roars and the boos and the heat or the cheers from the fans. You hear it from the Hardys. The place wants to come down in pieces, like when they come out. Women want to be with them, men want to be them. So that's the type of thing when you get from the Hardys. And you see that there. And what a match they put in. They're still putting on matches, great matches. Twist of Fate. You got the Swanton. They play all the hits in the course of a match, when and where, and they sell their moves when they get countered, which they're simplicity course of wrestling. But this is where the nostalgia gap is so over, because they're playing the hits and they're making it still stay within the wrestling pencil line without not coloring out of the lines, and it works even in 2025 for the Hardys, Chris.
All right, the Hardys are they're the fucking Hardys. I mean, we don't really need to compare the two. I mean, the Hardys are, that's just my opinion, the Hardys are the Hardys. They're one of few tag teams in the entire wrestling business, all companies, that when you see them on the card, you're going. I mean, you're watching. They're too legendary to really float around and not being taken advantage of. And TNA has done it. I mean, I think it also comes on their end, right? Jeff and Matt want to be there. I think with AEW, it's kind of like, they don't appreciate us. Let's get the fuck out and go somewhere that does. And they found it right there with TNA. Yeah, the Hardys they're a culture icon. Like, you put those titles, any freaking championship, put them on. It's a no-brainer.
And I love it. And I love to see them there. And by the way, one thing, and I love that Moose. It shows Moose is all in, invested on TNA. He said it. He had chances to go elsewhere. He stood with TNA. He waves that flag for that company. And for Moose to take the pin on a Swanton from Jeff Hardy says a lot. Because and I bet you most of you didn't even remember that until I mentioned that. But for him to take that pin, it also elevates. Remember, Jeff Hardy's a former world champion, not just one, in multiple companies. For Moose to take that pin there, I love that Moose didn't have an ego and went with it. I don't know if he had say it or not, but if he did, kudos. on him, but even though it's still, that was the right for business, because it even elevates or it legitimized, the Hardys don't need it. The Hardys don't need it, but it also legitimized this title run because Jeff got that swanton on Moose. So I love that there. Good job, Moose. Of course, going over without going over. You got to give your flowers, not just when you win, also in the defeat and what you did and putting talent over. I love that. Where they didn't need to, where the Hardys don't need it, but I love the fact that I went that way. That was a big plus for me. Now we get finally the mystery solved. And to me, I'm going to call this, to me, the spotlight of the most classiest, best way without burying the talent or burning bridges. What do you mean? We finally get the 23 number that's been teasing TNA for a couple of weeks. Sami Callihan, the Death Machine, comes out talking about he's tired of the 23. He's sick of the 23. What the hell is it? Make yourself known. Come on out. Stop hiding behind the shadows. Now, before this all set this up, that Sunday night when Genesis was live on the air, GCW had a pay-per-view themselves, People versus GCW, where we saw the former digital media champion PCO take the TNA digital media title and put it on a chair and try to abolish it with a sledgehammer. And he's no longer with the company. Why I call it the class or the top way of the without burying of the segment ever seen, because out comes Chris the Staffland, comes out with the digital media title, says, I'm divorced from PCO. They didn't call it PCO divorce. I won this title on the divorce, which is saying he's no longer with the company. He didn't have to bury him, say, he was a piece of crap or yada yada. They didn't bury PCO. They just kind of said, we're split. I won, and then last time we saw them, she was getting married to PCO. That was his bride. So they got divorced. Now I got a new boyfriend. Here comes 23, Mance Warner. Comes out, I'm gonna give him the digital media title. I don't say, well, you didn't win it. He's not part of the company. How do you give him more of a title? It's right now, it's not about that right now. Warner could lose this next week. Mace Warner could lose this next week. Who cares? It's the way they didn't bury the talent, and they did it such in a classy way where they didn't say, you were fucked up, PCO, that was tasteless, that was classless, that was low life move. No, we're gonna do it the right way. We're gonna split amicably. You did your thing. You went to business for yourself. Well, we're gonna still keep it kayfabe. We're gonna keep it with storyline related. And they took something negative that could have been a negative all over social media, made it into a positive, because now you paid two things. You paid the 23 flashes, and you also have a new digital media champion, and you got rid of PCO without disparaging him. And if he comes back, well, he came back. The Frankenstein revived. So I loved it. I thought that was very classy for TNA. Kudos to you guys, creative. You guys did that perfect. In a world where there's a lot of dirt sheet and a lot of negativity.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of companies would send somebody off like that the way TNA did for PCO. So that was a good move on TNA's part. You don't want to just feed into it more. Just he did what he did. Wish him the best and move on. And I think they did a good job.
For a company where wrestlers want their release and get denied, not being on television, purposely adding injury time to their contract so they won't wrestle elsewhere. TNA did the total opposite, showing talent. Come here. We might not pay you the same. We're trying to get something grow. You'll get the TV time you want. You get the opportunity for exposure. Just come give us an opportunity, help us grow. We'll get you some money. If not, then you can move on. If you think it's not for you, we'll allow you to go to other companies for greener pasture. And speaking about greener pastures, who had an opportunity with that same statement, we get the one and only return of Mustafa Ali, who interrupts on Mike Santana's promo. But I like that Mustafa Ali returns. He returns to TNA. When I had a lot of head scratching, you did the best work for your 6 months of your career, and then you just disappeared. Like, why? You signed back with them. You get TV time. You had some title opportunities. I'm glad he's back from Mustafa Ali. I'm glad that he saw that it wasn't greener on the other side, and he returned back. And for Mustafa Ali there, I wonder if that's a feud with Santana first. I'm for it, Chris. I want to see that.
Absolutely. Like You took the words right out of my mouth. I can't really say much. You know, you were doing the best work of your career for the last 6 months, and you just left out of nowhere. It shook me by surprise when I heard that he was leaving the company, because he was showcased on TV a lot. He was one of their top acts at the point too, with the X Division Championship. So good for him. Him and Santana, I'd watch that shit any day. Yeah,
absolutely.
From stuff.
And now opportunities with NXT. He left. To me, I don't think he has unfinished business in the NXT realm. You know, before he was part of a North American title match that was announced for, and then the release happened. Whatever the case was, that door could be open again. They could actually go back and revisit that if they want, between those two companies, and say, you know what, I never got my North American title opportunity. You know, you're telling me a Mustafa Ali match with Tony D'Angelo for that North American title is not going to give you a something special to see there. Two veteran wrestlers, you know, Mustafa Ali being that veteran wrestler who's been around the world to wrestle, against the Tony D'Angelo, who's up and coming, who's kind of on the cusp of becoming a main roster wrestler. If you ask me, we could debate that, but you know, that's another good test there for Tony D'Angelo to wrestle that style with a Mustafa Ali. So I'm glad Mustafa's back. It doesn't have to be in the WWE ring. It's great. I'm glad he's back in a TNA ring, first and foremost. And he shoots right to the top of the card immediately with that. His impact there, no pun intended. I'm glad he's back. They're one of the hottest promos of TNA, of all villains of villain. The Teresa Blanchard promo was on freaking fire. Like her or don't like her, call her what you want to call her, you know, dislike her, but she got you to dislike her even more. Gave you a history lesson about San Antonio, her family, her father, her grandfather, promotion, all that stuff, and you just continue to dislike Tessa Blanchard, where the crowd actually respected her. She kind of almost, I'm not saying she had a Stone Cold type of moment, but if she continues any more heat, she's going to get people to want to see more. She's on that cusp. What's your thoughts on the performer Teresa? I'm not talking about the out of stage Teresa Blanchard.
I like her. I mean, she's really using this to feed off of what a type of promo we just saw on Thursday. I like it. She's not just one of these wrestlers that she's trying to make it, or she's established. She knows what she's doing. People know who she is. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's gonna be like, with Jordan Grace out the door. She's not Knockouts champion. She's not like Slamovich. She's not being showcased like that. But she's next. She's next. And if say Cora wins that Knockouts title, you don't think her and Cora wouldn't have a good ass promo battle back and forth or something? So much you could do with Tessa. I like her. I like her. I think she's great. I don't know her obviously personally, so I don't have a personal opinion about her. But from what I've seen her in this new run, dude, she's great. I mean, she's good. I mean, you know, shit happens with other people, but I'm a fan of her work right now, for sure.
And of course, we get to the main event: Joe Henry versus Matt Cardona, with Frankie Kazarian will be at ringside with his Cola Shot Gauntlet, teasing. You know, could it be a one and done for Joe Henry with Frankie Kazarian at ringside? Of course, this match was great, back and forth. Joe Henry getting tested, putting to the brink. Where you thought Matt Cardona, damn, would it be something Cardona world champion? I mean, out of nowhere, and like, holy crap! Out comes JBL out of the crowd and just clothesline the living crap out of Matt Cardona. Of course, Joe Henry becomes opportunistic, and that stare down between JBL and Joe Henry. I don't know if they're teasing an in-ring return for JBL versus Joe Henry, or what's the deal with that? We need to find out some more, you know, to be continued storyline there with that. But all in all, that was like, whoa, what an ending there. And of course, we knew Joe Henry was going to retain, but I like the way sometimes predictability is nothing wrong with that. It's how you get to the ending of the predictability is what hooks us and gets us. make it make sense for the ending. And of course, if it's JBL protecting Joe Henry or wanting a title shot from himself from a Matt Cardona, it makes sense. Or whatever way they explain it, it gave us that hook, even though we knew that the outcome was going to be a little predictable, but it still gave us that good ending on there. We loved it. And because Arian didn't even think about calling his shot because he got clotheslined the night before by JBL at Genesis, or third Sunday before on there. So I love that. I can't wait for TNA's next Thursday. For also being recorded tonight from San Antonio, but we'll get to see some stuff. We heard there's going to be a lot of surprises, so no spoilers on that. A lot of surprises from San Antonio for this Thursday. We'll be live, of course, on the playback, so you can watch with us on the playback. We're going to move a little bit even quicker because we got Saturday night main event to come up soon in a couple hours. Yeah, I get some dinner and stuff and get that stream ready, and I want to wrap up. I just want to go over a little bit of SmackDown, what stood out. I'm not going to go because I want to give my Saturday night's main event and Royal Rumble predictions that I've been working on, that I teased last night on playback, and I want to make sure we talked about it today on it. We got Motor City Machine Guns defeat Pretty Deadly. That was a good match. Well, Pretty Deadly, one of the very underrated tag teams. Sometimes people don't like their music, like myself, and then their gimmick, but their in-ring and their psychology of the in-ring is very good for Pretty Deadly. I hope 2025 treats them well. I hope their booking lines and so forth, they get that nice push there. Miz was traded to SmackDown. So now the Miz, Karrion Kross becoming a little dissension there, sending Miz over to SmackDown, where we saw, by the way, we missed the Uncle Howdy in the background on one of those vignettes there, Chris. If you look at on X, Uncle Howdy was in the shadow. I mean, we missed it. We missed it live.
Yesterday when we were on the playback, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, we didn't realize it. Uncle Howdy was not in that segment, but throughout the night, we saw Uncle Howdy's shadow walking down and come up the ramp. Of course, you got Kevin Owens, had a little bit of back and forth from Matthew McConaughey was in the building, relishing with his tail between his legs after Ohio State knocked this team, the Longhorns, out of the postseason. But wanted to give Chris that. There it is. Wanted to give Chris that shout out there. And of course, Jimmy Uso confronts him. So we set up a match later in the night for both of those two, Kevin Owens and Jimmy. One of the matches that I enjoyed was Chelsea Green and Piper Niven taking on Meacham and B-Fab in that tag team matchup. Those ladies continue to get elevated with B-Fab and Meacham getting more ring time. That's what we want. The mid-card title has elevated some of these other women because we wouldn't even think about a B-Fab wrestling. B-Fab would not be wrestling for a world title if there wasn't the mid-card title. So she'll be stuck in catering. But now she's wrestling now. Now she's meaningful. Meacham gets an opportunity later in the night next week for the final opportunity to take on Chelsea Green for that United States Championship. But now you got B-Fab in her corner. Anything could happen now. Maybe B-Fab is next. I love the fact that now we're invested in these women. So speaking of women, we got Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Diamond Jax, Candice LeRae, Tiffany Stratton, Liv Morgan all come out, have that promo, which leads to a 6-woman tag match. Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi against Jax, Candice LeRae, and Morgan. Morgan continues to get the pin. She got the pinfall victory. They come out on top, setting up for some Royal Rumble. Who could be a possible female for the Royal Rumble? Of course, Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley tonight on Saturday night's main event. I want to go real quick in a match that I know a guy was not happy. They made Apollo Crew put down the plate in catering when they were giving out ribs to go wrestle Johnny Gargano. He was so upset because he wanted to stay in catering and enjoy the ribs and the brownies, but he had to wrestle Johnny Gargano. But Apollo Crews got to win. Got to hook the tights, but he got the win for Apollo Crews. Got back to his plate on wings and ribs back at catering, so he's happy. Toma Tonga versus LA Knight in a great match where LA Knight gets the win, but Toma Tonga and delivered a hell of a match with both of them there. A-Town down, they got traded to Raw, leaving The Miz by himself. He was trying to align himself there. In a move that I was making a questioning, Chris, I was like, why is The Miz and Grayson Waller, they have the Waller effect, and you have Miz TV, too much talking, and it makes sense that now they got moved over to Raw, which is good. I love the storyline. I like the trade there to see that. And Miz on USA Network, why not? Because you got Mrs. and Mrs. Miz coming up in the fall, and if he's on SmackDown, you can promote it on the USA. Business, pal. It's all about the business, pal.
I forgot.
And speaking about more business getting traded over from SmackDown to Raw to SmackDown, El Campeón, the one and only Damian Priest. He's going to take on Carmelo Hayes in a good match there. We also saw Damian Priest crossing paths with Cody Rhodes, where he says, you know what, see you soon, champ, where they're teasing maybe Damian Priest, Cody Rhodes in a couple months down the road, maybe not, if Cody Rhodes survives and holds the title from Kevin Owens, but we'll see that as well. But a match between Damian Priest and Carmelo Hayes, to me, was the match of the night. I thought that was the match of the night there, although I like to meet him and Chelsea Green right there, but I'm going to give it to Melo and Damian Priest because of the veteran of Damian Priest, and Melo followed that match to a T perfection. I got to give them as an in-ring. And, of course, Kevin Owens, versus Jimmy Uso. Kevin Owens gets the win. Of course, you got to heat him up, and I like the fact that they did a good job there. Cody Rhodes comes out for the save, takes the hug, and SmackDown is over. So we go into Saturday night's main event. I want to try to rapid fire because you've been wonderful for watching and listening to us here on a Saturday afternoon. You can be anywhere on a Saturday afternoon and you're here with us. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, here's some matches. Anything stands out? Here's the matches, and it's Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, Braun Strowman and Jacob Fatu. They had that exchange on SmackDown, but tonight they're going to have that match. Which one of these Saturday night main event? Cody Rhodes to signing with Shawn Michaels. What's intriguing you for Saturday night's main event, Chris?
Gunther and Jey Uso.
I'm glad you went there.
That is the only match I can see. That's the only match in this card that I don't know who the clear winner is. I guess that's the way to put it. Because I mean, Jacob and Braun's a good match too. I would give that an honorary second. But we know Rhea's gonna win. I think we know Braun's gonna win. Who knows? But in my opinion, I feel like the wild card is Jey and Gunther because I don't expect Gunther to have a long title reign.
Okay.
I never expected it from the beginning, even when he beat Priest. I didn't expect Priest to have a long title reign. I didn't expect Gunther to have a long title reign. There's a lot of chatter. A lot of people want Jey. Jey's super over. He's showcased more than Gunther. I don't see why not. They wanted to put the title on Jey Uso tonight. But again, could they have a bigger plan for him down the road? Do they have more plans with like Gunther and Cena? I don't know. So for me, the wild night and the only match where I don't know where the clear winner is, Gunther versus Jey Uso for the world title.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned it. When I said that, I'm glad you said that. The one match that I think the title is going to change is that match. And I'll tell you why.
Okay,
I'll tell you why. If I had to create a pencil, and I teased that last night on the playback, I think Jey Uso wins this title match here. Because come Monday night on Raw, Roman Reigns is scheduled to be on Raw. The 27th. Remember the wise man said that. Mm-hmm. Remember what Sami Zayn also said. Remember, this is all tying in together. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, where Kevin Owens wants Sami Zayn to get in line with him to watch his back. Sami Zayn's promo to Roman Reigns, you never apologized to Jey. Remember that in the War Games? You never apologized, and he never acknowledged or say yay or nay. So now Jey Uso's the world champion. You're world champion on Monday Night Raw where Roman Reigns makes his appearance and shows there. Now, does Roman Reigns acknowledge Jey Uso as his world champion? You know, it's all about his acknowledgement. He has you to follow, but Jey got the world title. Who looks one up there? Who looks more stronger? Who looks more, you know, does Roman get a little jealous that he has that? And Roman eyes that title from Jey Uso now. Like, damn, you know, I could take this from my cousin. Get out of here. Like, you know, that kind of nonchalant there. That's a storyline planted. Where does Gunther go with this? What are you going to do with Gunther? Gunther, there's been tease about John Cena, like you said, Chris. Also, the final match for Goldberg could be for WrestleMania. That could be something that you could have that in your back pocket for Gunther. You don't need a world title for that. Brock Lesnar, if he returns, that's another one for Gunther. You don't need the world title for those matches, and you still keep Gunther relevant. And he goes, now that I got rid of the street trash, like Gunther could say that on Monday Night Raw, I'm going back for my title. That's fine. That's all great and dandy. That's phenomenal there. I also think Roman Reigns, and then it ties into the Rumble. Well, he says, Uso, if you want a title run, you just got to ask. Oh, no, I'm going to win the Rumble, and I might challenge you, or I might go after Cody for that world title. I can see that dissension with Roman cutting that promo with when it comes for Jey Uso. Like maybe Roman goes after Jey, maybe goes after Kobe, and then who knows? And we have a survivor. You could go any route because then SummerSlam you could have not a unification champion versus champion Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns if they get that far. I'm just bear with me. I don't think they're going to go that far personally. I think then it's the go home show for the Royal Rumble. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? I had a theory on that when it comes to this. I think the final four, some way, somehow, some way convoluted, whatever the case is, number 30 or 31, I think you're going to have Roman Reigns in the final 5 or 4 wrestlers there. Roman Reigns, CM Punk. You're going to have maybe a Drew McIntyre or the heavy hitters, Rollins, whatever. Always in the heavy hitters in that final. Then either 31 or 30 is The Rock comes out, or Brock Lesnar. Either one you could put, but I think it'll be The Rock. Everyone thinks it's Lesnar. I think it'll be The Rock. Well, but Rock is not going there to win the Rumble. There is a favor still incorporated by CM Punk to Paul Heyman. I think, remember, so it all ties in. There's a cell, and I know because that's a lot of storytelling, or a lot of what ifs and variables. But WWE wants you to connect the dots. They want you to think about this stuff. What happens? Remember the cell phone that wrote that I'm looking at. This is so fascinating that Chris just fainted of how great it is. I mean, he just went down. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. But here we go. The Rock is the favor is for Roman to get eliminated, and Punk tells Heyman that he needs Roman gone. Rock eliminates Roman because now you can heat up Roman and Rock if you want to. And then if they wants the promo, why did you do that? Because Heyman asked me to. Because Punk needed a favor, and I'm the final boss, and I'm the only one who could grant that type of favor to the wise man. Now Punk gets to win the Rumble. He go after whoever champion he wants, if it's Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, whatever the case is, and then you're off and running to that. Then you're off and running, or Uso loses in Elimination Chamber. You're off and running with that, where it makes you could go that route if WWE doesn't know which way they want to go with the champion. I still think the winner of the Rumble probably will become Punk because of the Rock's eliminating of the Roman Reigns. That's the final boss, or even Brock Lesnar, a Paul Heyman guy. He asked a favor to Paul Heyman. He brought in a Paul Heyman guy in Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar, and Bully Ray said it on Busted Open about the Brock situation. And I'm going to give him credit, but I'm taking it further where I don't think maybe Brock is the one. I think I'm going to add the Rock situation instead of Brock. I'm going to take a little bit of his theory and add to Rock, because everybody's like, what happened to Rock with the throating on the slitting of the throat? And how do you heat up Rock and Roman by the Rumble? By that. He aligned himself with Punk. He aligned himself with Punk because Paul Heyman, he's actually a Paul Heyman guy, or Paul Heyman works for him. And he aligned himself with Paul Heyman to get rid of Roman Reigns. And then you're off to the races with that. Maybe that's the way to go with that. Who knows? I think I have a theory on that. That's my theory. I think that might be something similar. It might not play out exactly like that, but hear me out. That's me honestly looking. That's my theory, my thoughts there. I think it's going to be there where the favorite for Punk is for The Rock or Brock, either one, to be the one to eliminate Roman Reigns at the Rumble for him to move on going forward. Or maybe it'll be an opportunistic John Cena and knocks both of them out. You never, but somewhere around the line, I think the favor is that. I think he's going to get a hired gun to try to get Roman Reigns out, because I think Punk kind of sees Roman Reigns as their top-notch threat for the Rumble. That's just one here. For the Women's Rumble, everyone's speculating could be a Charlotte Flair to win the Rumble, and I teased that yesterday in the playback. To me, the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble, and I'm gonna say it now, people are gonna go ugh or roll their eyes, is Jade Cargill. I think Jade Cargill wins the Royal Rumble because Jade Cargill has been for the last month in the Performance Center working with the coaches over and over and over. And what they're doing, they're simulating and they're working with her. And I don't have any insights. It's just me speculating. I think Jade Cargill is working on how to do a Royal Rumble match with the cardio, with the strength, the moves, the near fall, the near elimination spot for her. I think she's learning with that, and I think they're giving her for her to have a long Royal Rumble entry or for her to end up winning the Royal Rumble. I think the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble will be Jade Cargill. You heard it here first. I think Jade Cargill wins the Rumble. I think she's getting prepped and shown. I think one of her last persons to eliminate will be Charlotte Flair, where we're thinking, oh, Charlotte's going to win, and Jade wins. Where you could have a little bit of a program between Jade and Charlotte tease for later down the road. If for SummerSlam, that's a SummerSlam. Remember, SummerSlam is a 2-night event. I think Jade Cargill wins the Rumble, guys. So again, I want to like to hear your thoughts. If it makes sense, now it makes sense. Again, I'm being my audience of relevancy. I'm not trying to stake chalk. I'm trying to think a little bit outside the box, but with some wrestling sense or with some things that I see around the Performance Center or hear about. You hear that she's been at the Performance Center working for weeks, months now since she's been written off TV. And I think it's that, getting her prepared for the Rumble to have a strong showing at the Rumble, guys. That's what I think, Chris. So
I can see that. I mean, real quick, I'll end it off with mine real quick and not too long.
Yes,
I think the women's, I think Charlotte, I think she's gonna make a great comeback. I can also see, now that you said that, you also got me thinking a little bit. But my original prediction, and it's not just because Charlotte's coming back. I think she's been gone for a while. I think she could. I think the women's division needs her truly, especially on the SmackDown side, because SmackDown just feels unexciting. And if they could maybe showcase her with Tiffany or something, I could just see a lot more scenarios with Charlotte winning the Royal Rumble. But Jade's a really good pick. Now that you really have me thinking about that, Kev, I'm really gonna have to think about that because I still have a week to give my final prediction. But that's a good one. But right now, I am leaning more on the Charlotte Flair. But we will see how this week of wrestling plays out. Maybe I'll have another one next week when we do this before the Rumble.
There we go. And final thing of the night, I just want to give a little bit of shout out. It's wrestling, but I still want to give a little bit of shout out. Tonight's card for Homecoming in Jacksonville for Collision. Not a smart move to go against Saturday night's main event. So it'll be Garcia, Danny Magic, and Cool Hand Menard in the trios against Adam Cole, Kyle Rowley, and Roderick Strong. I mean, all right. Black and Gold called and they want their match back. Okay. Takeshita versus Shibata, and who has the worst timing of that match? That should have been on this Wednesday, but they want to give it to you. They want to go head to head with they're not going to be Saturday night's main event. Why go head to head and put that card? That card should have been on Dynamite. Okada versus Commander. So we're going to be a lot of flippity floppy for Commander here. Get ready. And we're going to be flipping flopping more than a transvestite on a Saturday night. Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne. Queen Almalada with Deonna Purrazzo. Winner faces Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. Serena Deeb, the Catcher's Mitt, and some other lady from Stardom. Don't know. And the Gates of Agony taking on Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Now, very underutilized, underrated tag team to me, Gates of Agony. I wish they get the hell out of AEW and come to TNA because the Gates of Agony will be a freaking force. I think those two guys. I'm a fan of the Gates of Agony. I think they're wasting their time in AEW because they're a hell of a tag team. They're menacing, they're big, they're strong, but it is what it is. So I just wanted to give that honorable mention to All Elite Wrestling's homecoming from Jacksonville, Florida. Good luck with that, man. That too bad they have a couple matches that, personally, to be honest with you, I kind of would like to know the results. I'm not going to watch it. Hell no, but I would like to know the results, like the Agony. I know the Agony, the Gates of Agony is going to lose to the House of Black. I get it. I know, or to Buddy Matthews and Brody King. We know that there, but too bad there to see what that goes there. But it is what it is. With that said, we want to thank you guys so much. Appreciate everyone here because we got to come back in a couple hours. Don't forget Saturday night's main event. Come on the playback. It's on the comment section in our YouTube channel, or you follow us on X at BSJedi76, or you follow PGH Chris TV. Please check it out there on X, on Twitter X. And of course, you get to find out all that information. Follow us, email us. I hope you agree, disagree, whatever. We want to hear back from you. We really appreciate it. It's a weekly wrestling program. We wanted to go through a little bit, give us our ups and downs of what we like, what we didn't like. Also want to thank Fauci, the cute little lovable dog, to show up on the program and be able to give me some kisses there. So we needed that there because he heard me ranting and getting upset with all Elite Wrestling. He says, I'm going to calm you down. So we'll be back on tonight, Saturday night's main event. So have a good night, guys. We'll see you soon. Peace out.